In episode number 289 of the Reasons I'm Broke podcast, we cover the Street Fighter TV series.
We also have Frank Miller, who is back on DC Comics after what happened with Dark Knight's Master Race. That is not the end of Mr. Frank Miller on DC, and we've got his projects that we're covering today.
And our comic book review this week is Dark Knight's Metal number 6.
All of this and so much more on today's episode.
Hello and welcome to the Reasons I'm Broke podcast, bringing you the reasons we're broke, ranging from comics, movies, TV, video games, and more. I am the amazing Emperor Papa Kelli.
And I am the terrific Darth Vader Daniel.
For those of you joining us for the very first time, welcome to the show. The way we format is first we're going to start out with some news, and then we have the Broke Het block and a comic book highlight all the way at the end of our show.
First news item this week. According to Deadline, Capcom's Street Fighter is in development for a television series.
And?
Well, why it matters is because the show is going to have executive producer Joey Ansa, Jacqueline Kaya, and Mark Wooding, who actually produced the live-action Street Fighter Assassin's Fist web series, which fans adored. So these were kind of independent type of, think of a fan film or a fan television show, except with more budget. And they made this series, and then they took that work that people loved, the fans enjoyed. They gave the actual video game story more substance, put it online, and now they took their work and went and pitched it to a network and said, this is what we did online. This is how many views we got. Now let's put this on a TV show and pay us. It's a success story. That's why I wanted to cover this.
Well, good for them. I don't care. But that's great for them. That is the American dream right there. Make fucking something a web series, get a lot, and that is the perfect way to show what social media can do for people, because that's really what it is right now. Social media is making people fucking famous, and so great for them.
It's another case of just like the past interviews that we had with creatives of this is how someone got into the industry. This is how they broke in. They went out and they made their own project, and sure, they might have gotten some help on the side with budgeting, but in this case, they then took their completed project, they saw it through to the end, and then made I guess they made some kind of presentation package. That must have been what they've done, what they did with all of this, because you got to pitch that stuff to television executives, to networks, and now it's actually I don't know if they're going to redo the thing or if it's going to be a sequel to the web series, but now whoever buys that network, when they have that first season, that network can put out that Blu-ray, that DVD, those episodes, along with the web series, and that can be extra supplemental material too.
That's really cool for them. I am not a Street Fighter fan. I have watched you play and went, Is that the one with the Indian guy with the long arms who floats around?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I know about it.
Dalsim is his name.
Okay,
thank you.
Cool.
And don't forget Sexy Ryu.
Sexy Ryu.
We covered that about a year and a half ago, and this is where they added the beard on him, and that was it.
Oh.
And then all these fans freaked out, and they're like, it's Hot Ryu.
Beards do make guys sexier.
When the Funko Pop came out, they called it Hot Ryu, and they had the beard on him.
That is amazing.
So next news item, it has to do with David Ayer, of course, the director to Suicide Squad, the Academy Award-winning, Oscar-winning Suicide Squad.
So on Twitter, David Ayer explained the deleted Joker Enchantress subplot that never made it to the Blu-ray or theaters.
Someone ended up screenshotting those images of the Joker where half of his face is burned off and he has the grenade. All of the stuff that they included in the trailer that didn't end up making in the film. And they said, so are we going to get an explanation for this? Because it never came out on DVD as a deleted scene.
Nope. Yes, of course we get an explanation for it. So we have a quote here from Ayer. Quote, after Joker dropped Harley Quinn from the helicopter and crashed, Enchantress made a deal with him. He was going to take Harley home and be king of Gotham. Harley stood up to him and refuses to betray her new friends. The squad turned on him and he escaped. That was her arc. Growth and empowerment. End quote.
So we both really enjoyed Suicide Squad.
Suicide!
Do you think this would have benefited from this extra subplot, or did you feel like Harley Quinn's turn and defense of her team against the Enchantress was stronger in the way that we ended up seeing?
I think it would have been strong either way. The thing I like about how they did it is because at the end we have the Joker saving her from jail and she's excited. I think if we had that other scene, you wouldn't have had that sweet moment at the end where it's like, Joker's still alive, woohoo, whatever. And then by doing that, you also have the opportunity to have movies where she can do the same thing, where she can still stand up to him, be empowered, stand up against him, which, like I said, gives them a lot of opportunity for other things. So I think it's fine the way they did it. Either way would have been good. It would have been cool to see this. But with how popular Harley is and how great of a job Margot Robbie did, I don't think that we won't get that opportunity still. Because there's still so much you can do with the character.
Plus, I remember in our review of it, your favorite thing about Suicide Squad was the fact that this was a Harley Quinn that was in love. This was a Joker that we haven't seen abuse her aside from running off the fucking bridge with the car and leaving her ass in there.
The head
oh, yeah, you did that at the beginning. But once we got near the end, she turned down the offer of bringing back the Joker and giving her the life she wanted, which was to have a baby with him. They're both normal and they have this regular American life. She stays at home. He goes off to work.
Her fantasy included twins. It was crazy anyway. So
I don't remember twins.
Yeah, there were 2 kids. Remember, he was playing with one in the high chair and
and she's carrying the other one. That's right.
Yeah, there were twins. Nuts. Fucking nuts, these 2.
She is insane. That's right. So the way we got it, she turned that down. It was still a type of, I still miss my Joker, but these are my friends, and I know that, as Diablo said, and we need a fucking Diablo returning in Suicide Squad 2.
Or a Diablo movie.
But in turning that down, she believed Diablo, she believed in her teammates, and she stopped the Enchantress. Whereas if it was her and the Joker and Enchantress as well in that same scene, it wouldn't have had that same impact. And as you mentioned at the very end with that scene of him breaking her out, it would have been like, wait, weren't you guys fighting? Didn't she betray you? It would have been a little confusing. And that's not to say that that scene would have been in there if we got this alternative. Of course. But I think, as you said, it does have more impact the way we did receive it.
Like I said, we are still going to get more Harley and Joker movies. This will happen. People loved them enough. All over my Facebook, it's, I want to love like Joker and the Harleys. And I'm like, they're insane. And they like try to kill each other.
He beats
frequently.
the shit out of her.
Yeah. That's what you want is like mental and physical abuse, but okay, whatever.
David Ayer is currently attached to direct the Gotham City Sirens movie.
See, that's a great movie to put that in because she's got her girls behind her and she's going to stand up.
Did we see the Joker in this movie?
Yeah, we will, of course.
Did we see the Batman in this movie?
Yeah, of course. Are one of the girls going to try and seduce Batman, preferably Catwoman? Yes.
Do we get Batgirl in this movie?
Maybe. That'd be cool.
I almost feel like you can't have the Sirens without Batgirl. And I know she wasn't in the comic book series that this is named after, but in the offshoot Batman the Animated Series web series that came out, in the other content, the extra stories, they always have Batgirl tracking down the 3 and putting them away.
I hope we get to see her. That would be a great tie-in leading into the Batgirl movie. Is this one coming out before Batgirl?
Yeah.
Okay. So that would be a great tie-in leading into that because then you get people excited for Batgirl like, oh, she's trying to stop the Sirens again. But of course, at the end of the Sirens, they have to end up being good guys.
Yeah, absolutely. There's got to be a bigger enemy.
Of course.
And maybe it is the Joker. Like maybe we do get that Suicide Squad original plot of the... And David Ayer has since said that Joker should have been the main villain in the movie. And I'm like, calm down, David. It was fine. You did well. You won an Academy Award for the fucking movie.
Calm down.
Like, everything did fine. I don't care if it's makeup. It still your movie won an Academy Award. If you had not directed it the way you did, if your camera operators had not done their job as you told them to do, who knows? Maybe they wouldn't have noticed the makeup. I don't know. So you should still be happy with what you got. Well, of course not.
Did you ever notice the makeup in the room?
Hell no, I did not.
Exactly, because we're so focused on how crappy that movie was.
So Frank Miller, he has actually signed on with DC Comics as a writer and artist for a 5-book project deal.
I feel like I don't like Frank Miller.
He did The Dark Knight Returns. That's probably like among other things, he did 300 as well.
It's okay.
But The Dark Knight Returns is probably going to be the book that whenever he does pass away, that's going to be the book that people show as like an image next to his picture or whenever they remember him, it's going to be about The Dark Knight Returns, because that was such an important work for the future of Batman, you know, bringing Batman back to the darker tones, along with Year One, along with The Killing Joke, which were by different writers and artists, but his was so remembered, and it shifted everything. And they're still doing books based on that universe, that future that he created many years ago.
Well, hopefully he can continue that with these next books that he signed on for. The first one is Superman Year One. It will launch first with artist John Romita Jr., who did Kick-Ass, on DC's recently announced creator-driven Black Line label.
Black Label line.
Oh, sorry.
This is the one in which they don't tie down the creators. This is not in continuity. This is just like Batman White Knight, its own separate thing. It does not match up with the DC Rebirth universe. Not with the DC universe, not with what's happening in No Justice or Dark Knight's Metal. It is just them telling their story as they would if it were an original graphic novel.
Fan fiction, per se.
Pretty much.
Fan fiction they get paid to write.
Yes.
And get paid to draw on. Fuck it. I want to be a part of this line. Listen, I will write you some fan fiction, guys. This is my moment.
With someone like Frank Miller, you do want him as like, you can work on that over there.
You can do those things. But I want to write in content those things. Was he the one who killed off Robin? Who killed off Robin?
Which Robin? Because they've almost all of them have died.
Damian.
No, that was Grant Morrison.
Oh, that's right. I fucking hate him too. God.
The second announced project by Frank Miller is going to be an original graphic novel, which is in collaboration with artist Ben Caldwell, who did Batman Beyond Unlimited.
Cool.
And this is going to be the one with Kelli.
Yes.
Who you saw the images to, the concept art. What do you think about that look for Kelli in this book?
I think it looks pretty cool. For me, it seemed like it was more geared towards kids. Did I pick up on that wrong?
It's definitely for young adults.
Okay.
Which some people have been saying, Frank Miller does not do books for young adults. He does them for adults.
Are they aware what young adults are exposed to now?
That's
Tide
true.
Pods.
That's fucking true.
Tide Pods is one thing that they're exposed to. So I don't see a problem with it. I thought it looked cool. Yes, geared towards young adults is awesome. I think Kelli is the character to do that with in this universe, because again, Kelli is a young adult who wants to see change in the world that's out of control, and that's where we are right now.
Plus, it's not like this book isn't going to have editors. They're not going to have, yeah, Frank, you can just throw in prostitutes everywhere.
Yeah, and swastika nipples. Just everywhere.
We have a quote here from DC publisher Dan DiDio. In a statement, he said,
Frank is a creative force in this industry, not just with a transformative take on iconic characters like Superman and Batman, but also tackling the young reader genre. He is an icon. As a publisher, I'm thrilled. As a fan, I'm even more excited. End quote.
The other 3 books will be announced at a later time, but they are going to kick off this year.
Ace is just rolling on some newspaper over here in the corner.
It's not just newspaper, Kelly. It is a comic shop news.
It is a comic shop news. So she has this comfortable bed, but the newspaper, comic shop news, is what she wants to lay on with her little 12-pound dog body.
She wants to be in theme.
She wants to make all the noise.
Her news story is, it's pretty comfortable, this comic shop news. I like this ink against my fur. I'm not a fan of the material. I like the previous catalog better, but this isn't bad. Thank you, Ace. We appreciate that.
Thank you. We love your commentary. So that is some exciting things for DC fans. I can't breathe. Might know if longtime brokeheads haven't picked up yet, my voice sounds a little off. I have been battling a cold all week. It's just all in my sinuses and my throat, and I haven't slept. Who sleeps? Who needs sleep?
No one sleeps.
I haven't slept in 6 months. My mom told me today that 7 months is when I started sleeping, so I'm like, oh my God, we're almost there.
Well, Leo is, like, the person that's been keeping me up is AC. Like, she's been getting up and barking at a frog snuck into the house, and it was in our room, so she started barking at that, and I have a soft spot for frogs. They're my favorite animals, so I took it outside, cleaned it off with the hose, gave it some water, and off it went. But with once I'm up in the middle of the night, I'm not like most people where they can just fall back asleep. My brain starts going, and I have to be watching something to fall back asleep. I have to have my mind, I guess, not entertained, but focused on something.
Preoccupied, yeah.
Yeah, it has to be working on something, and then I fall asleep. So it's like Leo's been fucking out for most of the nights. He gets up maybe once, as you said, for like a diaper change. But other than that, he's fucking asleep for 7 hours, 6 hours. But then AC gets up and she hears a fucking owl. Of course, the fucking Court of Owls have to drop by her goddamn backyard. And then she has to protect the house from the assassins. And they're like, oh shit, AC's there. We gotta fuck off. And now I'm awake.
I'm telling you, the owl and that possum the other night, they were like spewing some nasty things her way. Like, I'm going to kill your whole fucking family. And she's like, what'd you say? What'd you say? I'll fucking kill you.
Meanwhile, I'm yelling at AC like, God damn it, AC. I need to sleep.
And she's like, you don't understand. He's going to kill you. Yeah, he's going first.
They're threatening you. Did you not hear him?
Just get inside, Ace.
You idiots, you can't understand possum?
So the moral of the story is I have a cold. Maybe some year I'll get better.
And I am in Claritin is too fucking expensive mode, so I'm in allergy season, but this always happens every single fucking year. For the 5+ years that we've been doing the podcast, it hits us right around this time, but this is one of those moments in which we're both fucking leaking liquids from our face.
And it's horrible. Fucking hate head colds. Oh my god.
More of this in the Brokehead block. Next news story at WonderCon 2018. DC also announced the Justice League series that launches after the 4-part No Justice wraps up.
First was the previously covered Justice League #1 with Scott Snyder, Jim Chung, and Jorge Jimenez.
This first arc is going to put the team against the Legion of fucking Doom.
Legion of Doom.
Snyder could not reveal which villains would comprise the roster, but promised it would be packed with fan favorites. Sinestro better be on that goddamn.
The Joker.
Yep.
Cheetah.
Lex
Luthor. More people.
Black Manta.
No, Black Manta. Wasn't Grundy? Didn't he used to be on there?
I doubt Grundy's going to be there.
He used to be on there.
He used to be on there.
Wasn't the Riddler on there? The Scarecrow used to be there.
The Scarecrow, yeah, the Riddler. Mm-hmm.
Are they going to be in a swamp again?
Like, I fucking hope so.
Shady ass, like the Legion of Doom, shady ass swamp. Isn't that the first place you look? Like, if someone told me to look for a villain, I would go to the shittiest, creepiest place I could think of, like a swamp.
Swamp's not bad, but for me, I'm so conditioned to Batman the Animated Series, so I'm like, where's the abandoned theme park? Where's the abandoned anything?
Warehouse?
The warehouse.
Let's go to the docks.
The docks. There's the fucking Legion right fucking there. Not in a goddamn swamp in a fucking giant helmet dome.
Have you ever been to a swamp?
I actually don't know. I don't think I've been to a swamp while I've been in Florida. Like an actual legit swamp.
90% of Florida is a swamp. Where have you been?
I understand this, but to me, in my mind, a swamp is one of those things where it's just so much water that you have to take one of those water boats with the giant windmill thing on the back. There's a fucking swamp.
There's one like 10 minutes away.
I have not been to that 10-minute away swamp.
Okay, maybe it's like 30 minutes away. You can take boat tours through the swamp.
That's a true fucking swamp.
We should go to the Everglades someday. See,
I would love to, yeah.
Herons and alligators. Can I tell you, rabbit trail? Sorry, I know the scientific name for a heron now.
What is it?
It's like Arania rhodius or something weird.
Sounds like a dinosaur. Makes sense.
You know why I know it?
Because of the magic school bus.
Because the fucking magic school bus. Because when Miss Frizzle's rowing the boat and she gets hiccups, Ralphie's like, look, it's an Aronia Rhodius. And I'm like, what the fuck is that? Like, I'm typing it into my phone and it's fucking herring.
A fucking herring.
Yeah. And then Miss Frizzle's like, oh, where? That's awesome.
But she probably knew. She plays dumb a lot.
Of course she does. She lets the kids figure things out. She puts those kids in a lot of danger, too. She let Arnold fucking ride an eagle.
What the fuck?
He rode an eagle. He was tiny. They were in an airplane.
Okay.
And then the kids are hanging off the wings, and they're like, look at the air, holding him up. I'm like, Miss Frizzle, those kids are gonna die. They're holding on with their little arms.
You never felt safer with Miss Frizzle though. Like there's no one else that you can have Batman and Miss Frizzle, and it's like whoever you put me with, I'll be fine. I'll probably Zero Robins have died with Miss Frizzle. Zero Robins.
And 0 children, too. I found the irony this week. I'll say this and then we're done. We'll move on back to the news. But that it's the magic school bus, but they're looking at science. But it's
I didn't even think about that.
Magic school bus. Mind blown.
Who created the fucking magic school bus, by the way?
What's her name? Miss Frizzle's boyfriend or whatever.
Is he a wizard? Like, what the fuck is
no,
this?
He's a mechanic. but he mechanics robots and magic school buses and spaceships.
So he's an engineer.
Yes, I guess.
He's a genius.
And Miss Frizzle knows more about the flubaflobbins or whatever is inside. Actually, I do know all the pieces of the Magic School Bus, too. There's the mesmoglobber and the shrinker scope.
What's his actual name? Is it a he? Is it a she?
It's a he. Oh, the bus?
Yeah.
We don't know what the bus is.
Okay.
She just calls it bus. She goes, "Hey, bus, do your stuff." And he's like, Liz is a girl, but the bus is just the bus. Made out of recycled parts, by the way.
Of course, science.
The more
it's the
you
future.
know.
So this, as we mentioned before, back to the news, Justice League. To anyone, as I said on Twitter, to anyone complaining, I think I said it last week, that this is getting an all-new #1. You're getting Scott Snyder, and if you have not seen the sales to Justice League, if you're complaining and whining about Justice League #1, this is going to be the perfect start. And it relates to Marvel, which we're going to talk about soon, that you do need kind of a flush of the system and a new #1 to get people back on board, because not every shop does jumping on points, which is something that we do at the store I work at, where it's like, even though this is issue 46, this is a part 1 of a story, and it actually gets a lot of people into series, and it works. And I want comic publishers to do that more often, because it helps everyone out.
Right. So like we said, the #1, you're going to see the Justice League go up against the Legion of Doom. We also have the return of Justice League Dark, as written by James Tynion IV, who's wrapping up Detective Comics now, with art from Alvaro Lopez, Raul Fernandez, and Brad Anderson.
This new lineup for Justice League Dark, which, I don't know, maybe this will be the movie lineup. Who knows? Like, now they can go in different directions. But it features Detective Chimp.
Nope.
Fuck yes. He's got a fucking beer bottle. He's walking around with that shit. Little alcoholic. Zatanna, whose current design I'm not a big fan of. I like the classic. A Man-Bat of all fucking people. Swamp Thing.
Cool.
And others, all led by Wonder Woman.
Again, this is the Magic crowd. We discussed this before when they first revealed these team-ups. All the Magic people. I only care about Swamp Thing. Don't care about the rest of them.
Have you seen the new... I don't think I showed you that. The new design of Man-Bat. It's more realistic looking. At like, real bats are kind of more hunched over with the big eyes. That's kind of what he looks like now in the new redesign. So I'm like, he's like a little fluffy, giant Man-Bat. This is amazing. He doesn't have like the humanoid type of pecs that you saw in the animated series. So it's like
he does have like man nipples?
Right. Like Man-Bat nipple? I don't know. Little fangs on the nipples would be good. Thank you.
Bats have nipples.
Do they?
Yeah, they feed their babies milk. Have you not watched the Magic School Bus episode?
No, I've not fucking watched that fucking episode.
I feel like I know so much knowledge now.
So it did its job. It really was like true education.
After you've seen them 47 times, yes. I know what episode it is by the opening, like, 5 seconds. I'm just like, oh, this is this fucking one.
I believe you. Are we going to sub to this new lineup of Justice League Dark? Are we going to give it a shot?
I'll check out the first one. I'm not a big fan. Like I said, Swamp Thing's the only one. I mean, I like Wonder Woman too, but Swamp Thing's the only one I really like in there. If it was Swamp Thing and Matt Ryan Constantine and Lucifer, then hell yeah, this is...
Yeah, fucking Swamp. Constantine's not in here.
I know. It just says and more. I don't care about Beer Chimp or whatever his name is.
Poor Detective Chimp.
And I really don't care about Zatanna, so we're fine.
The third Justice League series that is spinning out of Justice League No Justice is going to be Justice League Odyssey, in which Cyborg, Starfire, Azrael, Jessica Cruz, and Darkseid, yes, Darkseid, explore the universe in one of Brainiac's old headships.
This sounds cool. The only thing is I don't like Jessica Cruz, and I don't like Azrael.
I'm with you there. Yeah, but there's always going to be some members that you're not a huge fan of. But right there with Cyborg, I think Starfire and Darkseid, those two are my hooks personally, because I'm like, how's Darkseid going to work in the team? I want to see that.
His new design, too, on the cover of it, looks like he's trying to seduce all of them or be handsome now. He's not all, like, craggly.
I like how people are like, Darkseid would never work with this team. It's like, fucking read the book, relax.
Do you know what he's doing? Maybe he would.
So Josh Williamson will write the series, and he worked on The Flash previously on DC Rebirth. And Stepan Sajic, who just wrapped up Aquaman and also did Sunstone in the past, like 5 or 6 volumes now for Sunstone. But do you like Stepan?
Yeah, I do. I really like the art from Aquaman. It's really interesting. For long-time listeners, I'm not much of an art person, so if I know what their art is, that's a pretty good sign. So I think he'll do good things with this team. Again, except for Darkseid looking like he's all handsome now and kind of trying to seduce them or something with his crystal ball on the cover.
It makes sense because Sajik does very sexy books on the independent side.
Oh. So did he sit there and say, how can we make Darkseid sexy?
It's like he's already sexy, Steppen. Thank you.
He's already wearing a little skirt. Or he
Yes.
doesn't like shorten it a little more, put some fishnets under there. Hashtag sexy Darkseid. They should have given him a beard if they wanted him to be sexy.
Oh, that's fucking true. They should give fucking Darkseid.
You know who didn't get sexier with a beard?
Who?
Vegeta and Goku.
Vegeta he never went full beard, though.
Yeah, you didn't see the episode?
I saw the goatee that he had. I saw the mustache in GT. There was an episode with fucking full beard.
Yes, both of them. They went into the hyperbolic chamber and they both came back with a beard.
Let me ask you something. Does he come out looking like King Vegeta with the longer beard, just like his dad? Because then I can see, like, yeah, that didn't... The beard isn't for everyone.
It's not for him. Here they are. There they go.
It's fine.
No, they don't look any handsomer. They look weird.
I think it's because you already thought Vegeta was handsome before, so when you change
I thought you were handsome before your beard, and I think you're more handsome with your beard.
Well, it's like I've said before, when I finally have to shave my head, I'll transition from like the longest haired, handsomest to like the handsomest bald guy with a beard. Like my title will just transition into something else.
It's transforming. You'll go Super Saiyan 2.
Is that what that is?
I guess, except instead of your hair growing like longer and spikier, it just grows away.
It grows away. I like that.
I'll always think you're handsome, Daddy.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Are we subbing to Odyssey? Are you more excited for this than
I'm more
Justice
excited
League Dark?
for this than Justice League Dark, absolutely.
All right.
But there's more characters in there that I like. And again, you have sexy Darkseid, so I gotta see what's gonna happen with him. Is he gonna try and seduce Cyborg? Like,
maybe. We don't know.
You blocked my Omega beams.
I think he still likes Batman, but...
Everybody loves Batman.
Marvel's got some stuff happening.
Yeah, I guess.
It is positives. Like, this is... They could have only done good things unless they went back to legacy numbering again. So this is like, okay, there's less legacy numbering happening. Good. Give me a new number one. As we said before, give us a full slate of new number ones, because if you half-ass it, people notice and they get confused and they don't see it as a movement and a change. So what are they doing? Who are they bringing back?
The Fantastic Four. It's coming back this August with Dan Slott, who did the Silver Surfer writing, and Sarah Pacelli, who did Miles Morales' Ultimate Spider-Man, doing the art.
I am mighty tempted on this fucking series.
Get the first one. Try it.
Super tempted. I've also been...
Dougie Jones going to be in there?
No, I don't know. Maybe Silver Surfer should fucking show up. We should tweet to Dan Slott if he's come back to Twitter yet, because he spontaneously leaves after he gets so mad at people. He'll put out like liberal tweets and get mad when people argue with him, but he'll continue arguing with them as opposed to just muting them or blocking them or letting it go. He'll forever continue arguing until he gets so upset that he just leaves Twitter, and then he comes back like a week later.
Social media isn't for everybody. I get angry. I blocked some people like before my maternity leave because I was like, fuck you and you're and then now like I'm not hormonal anymore and I'm just like, yay, welcome back.
No sleep, but everything's okay.
Whatever. I drink coffee. I get through the day.
Funny enough, they just announced the death of the Inhumans, and I think it's a new miniseries. We don't follow Marvel quite as often, but people have said, okay, so now that you have the Fantastic Four back, now that they're on the Disney side, you can start publishing them on the comics and fuck the Inhumans, I guess. So the human fans are like, what the fuck, man? Like, fuck the Fantastic Four.
It frustrates me so much that they put these things out based on the movies, based on what they own. That is so frustrating to me because realistically, they're two different franchises. I'm going to get on a soapbox. I need to stop because I feel a lot of anger right now because the people who read the comics are going to go see the movies that they like it. The people who see the movies just to see the movies because it's a Marvel movie, like 90% of the people I know, are not going to go read the comics because of that. You will get some people reading the comics because of that. But 90% of your audience is not going to. So why are you going to use the movies to dictate your comics? Ridiculous.
Yeah, this is something I get this question all the time as people find out that I work in the industry of how much do the movies help comic shops? And it's always the exact same response, and it always is going to be the same response. We get a boost from Funko Pop sales, trade paperbacks, and whatever that book was that month of the movie's release. Outside of that, you don't get readers that are like, I watched Black Panther, I picked up the latest comic from your wall, and I now want to subscribe to the series. That does not happen. Instead, we sell them the Funko Pops, we sell them the merch, we sell them the statues, because they're excited. They just saw the movie. They impulse buy a lot of things. They don't subscribe to it. The next month, it's the next thing. Infinity War is coming out. I love that now. Or, that's how it ends up going. So comic shops do benefit in that month. But it's not like it is boosting the industry like, now comics are really... No, it does not work out that way. So that's why it's so frustrating to me and to you as well, where they let the movies dictate the books as opposed to writing the books, as Dan DiDio said, to inspire the future movies, to inspire the TV shows. So now that the Fantastic Four looks to be going back to Disney in 3 years or so, whenever this all gets approved... Now they feel like they should publish it. So all the Fantastic Four fans, while happy that this is coming back, they're probably still frustrated. Like, we were ignored for all these years because Disney did not own this franchise. They did not want to support it. They can publish all the books they want. But because they didn't own the movie rights, they did not want to support Fox in the Fantastic Four franchise. They wanted to kill it with the Target brand t-shirts where they would license out Marvel. They had a Secret Wars comic book page that they put on the t-shirts. When they licensed out that artwork, they redid it to Photoshop out the Fantastic Four and certain X-Men because they didn't own the rights. They didn't want to promote the characters that they didn't own the movie rights to. And people were like, what the fuck, man? So it's kind of like the comic readers are suffering and have been suffering for many years because of this fucking nonsense with the movies.
It once again feels like, and we've said this many times on the show, that the people high up at Marvel who are dictating what they do in the comics do not understand the comic industry. They're running it from a business standpoint, which is not... Yes, you need to look at it as a business, but it's a comic business. You need to look at it as a little differently than any other business. And to me, it doesn't feel like they're doing that.
I agree completely, and not to go back on your soapbox, but your complaint of the people that only watch the movies was perfectly summarized in that image you sent me of reality, DC and Marvel, quality books, movies, animated, everything, and then how a Marvel fan sees it. And you gave me this perfect chart and perfect image, and I put it up on Twitter, and it's like, okay, I'm going to try to be, is it objective or neutral in this? And I'm going, okay, well, so what are the categories? And it's like animated movies, and this is all in the reality column. Animated movies, DC is greater than Marvel. And it's like, oh yeah, everyone agrees with that. Everyone says that. With the comic books, DC is killing it. And in the long-term run, they have enough stories throughout the years that the trade paperbacks, the hardcovers, the novels, Marvel does, for every Killing Joke, Superman, Red Son, Court of Owls, as recent as that shit, Batman Adventures, Mad Love. You don't have the same number of iconic stories. 9 years of fucking Jeff Johns. That equivalent does not match on the Marvel side. Sure, you're going to have your Infinity Gauntlets. You're going to have Annihilation. You're going to have a Civil War. But for the number that DC has, even like Sandman, even fucking Hellblazer, does not match to what Marvel has on the publishing side. So the graphic novels, it's obviously DC is greater than Marvel. So it's like, I'm just going down this fucking list, and you just pulled it up there at the very top. So we went comic books, cinematic universe. Marvel has made way more money than DC. Sure. That one, it says Marvel's greater than DC, and it's the only one where it is in that way. For TV series, they have them both as equal, and I'm guessing they mean the live action ones. I'm not entirely sure, but with the Netflix run on Marvel, they're including that with Netflix, and it's like, yeah, okay, if you're including that and you're just saying the live action, great. But if you're including Batman the Animated Series, if you're including Justice League Unlimited, the animated TV shows compared to Marvel in that category, because there isn't a separate one for animated shows, right. DC kills them.
Of course. But then you have on the other side what a Marvel fan sees, and all they see is Marvel is greater than DC. So I posted this story on my Twitter, and I showed this to the Marvel fanboy that I work with. He and I argue about Marvel and DC movies all the time, and I've gotten to the point where I just say, you know what? I'm happy that these movies are doing well. You like what you like, but it's not for me. And that's how I have to end our conversations.
It's like politics.
Because, it just keeps going. It doesn't ever stop. So I showed this to him. And you know what the first thing he said to me was?
What is that?
That's bullshit. Marvel's better than DC and all those things. And I said, so let me ask you. Let me ask you this. Have you read the comic books? Well, no. Oh, okay. Have you seen any of the animated movies? No. Okay, well, have you watched all the TV series? Have you played the video games? Well, no. All I care about is the movies that are happening right now. And I said, yeah. And the chart says that they're better. But it says DC's better and all these. Well, that's not true. Marvel's better. But you just told me that you don't view any of these other things. So
you literally have no knowledge.
Right. You literally have no... Well, yeah, because all I care about is the movies. And it says the movies are better. Whether I believe that or not does not matter. This chart says it's better. And you're telling me this chart is wrong for things that you haven't even seen. You are exactly what this chart is. No, I'm not. No, yeah, you are. You are exactly what this says.
Like I said on Twitter, if there was a truth stone for Thanos' Infinity Gauntlet, then that would be, the image would be the stone itself. Yes. Like he would have the stones and then like a printed out like PNG image, the truth stone. And people are like, holy shit, and that is the fucking truth stone.
It's got to be cut out like crooked though.
The printer ran out of ink halfway through, so you see the horizontal lines. I would still fear that fucking stone because I knew it was the truth. Yep. Would not argue. Well done, Thanos. One of our favorite writers went on Twitter on our next news story. Comic book writer Mark Miller said on Twitter that he's done with Marvel and DC with no plans to go back.
Later, bitches, bye. That's what he said. Well, no, not really. This is what he said. We have a quote from him on Twitter. Quote, I'm full-time on staff creating TV shows, movies, and comics for Netflix and loving every picosecond. No plans to ever do DC or Marvel again, end quote.
Miller, as I learned, because that's what he goes by, Miller, signed a deal with Netflix last year, giving them rights to his Miller World properties, including Kick-Ass, Reborn, which we really adored, Jupiter's Legacy, Huck, Chrononauts, and many more.
This guy's got it fucking made. Good for him.
He's done for life, as we said when he first signed on. We're like, he never needs to ever write another fucking comic book again.
No. So Miller's work at Marvel and DC Comics included Ultimate X-Men, Civil War, The Authority, and Superman Red Son.
That makes me sad because if we could have gotten another Superman Red Son out of him, yes. Like, I'm glad Netflix signed him on after he did Superman Red Son. Because that is... Mwah. And Maceo just finished it.
Yeah?
He just finished Superman Red Son. He's like, I've always seen it at the library, and I never checked it out, and he finally did. And he's like, it is fantastic. And Al, Mr. Purple Swordfish himself, went on there and he's like, it is something like perfect from beginning to end. It is perfect. Like, there is nothing wrong with that book. Even though that artist changed halfway through the story because he couldn't come up with the schedule, it reads really well. And I love that the artist fought so hard to have Batman keep the Russian hat.
Yes.
Like, they were like, no, the editors were like, get rid of it. It's going to look silly. And he's like, I want the fuck, and he drew it in anyway.
Oh, my work's already done.
Submitted, done. And now you see it. And readers do criticize it. They're like, that fucking hat was stupid. And I'm like, fuck you, man. When you see that hat, you know it's Batman Red Son.
Yeah, you do. It's going down.
They did a whole fucking...
Red Son's there.
Actually, in Dark Knight's Metal that we're about to review, you fucking get a fucking Batman. He was there,
and I knew that he was Batman Red Son. I just knew it.
It doesn't look silly because he's Batman. You're like, he's going to fucking beat my ass. As soon as you see that
with
fucking
that hat. Like, he's got extra pockets in that hat. Going to pull shit out of it.
So what do you think about this? Are you kind of sad that he's never going to do any work in either for the big two?
I never say never. He could potentially do work for the big two again. We'll see. Right now, he's got it made. He's making money doing his own thing. And isn't that everybody's dream? Mm-hmm. Like, yes, he got the opportunity to write Superman. He got the opportunity to write X-Men. And now he's getting paid probably a shit ton of money to do his own thing, to tell his own stories. And as a creator, I feel like that's really what you strive to do. So it's very easy for him to say, I'll never do this again. Give him 5 years. He's going to come up with a story for one of these guys. And he's going to go to them and say, I got this great story for you. Put a couple more zeros on that paycheck. And potentially it could happen.
I'm not a writer, and I can say I like to consider myself a creative because
I'm a creative.
Creative, is that what they call them? Is that douchery enough?
that is
douchey
pretty
enough. Just because I grew up I used to draw a lot, and it was always like I like to draw. I like to do shoot. You know, I went to college for student film, and That's always been my thing. I can't do math. I can't do like heavy science like chemistry.
Oh, I loved chemistry. Ooh, ugh, I got excited. I'm sorry.
So content creators are creative. So we're always haunted by a project or a story. If you're a writer, you're haunted by a story that you want to tell. This is why Dan Slott moved from Spider-Man to Iron Man, because I'm sure he had his Iron Man story. This is why Brian Michael Bendis moved from Marvel to DC, because he said it himself, even though it was a paycheck thing. He still said, there's always been that Superman story I've wanted to tell.
Right.
And when they asked him, what do you want to do? He said Superman. And he was like, fuck, Jesus, couldn't you have said something? All right, fine. We'll give you Superman. So there's always that story that they want to have out there in the world. So with Miller, he's going to eventually, I think, as you said, many years down the line, all right, let's do an original graphic novel of this, because I've wanted to put it out there and it's not.
Right.
It doesn't exist.
I have many fan fictions waiting in my head, stories that I want out there that will never be out there.
How much would the Patreon brokettes have? What would be the fucking goal? Once a month, they get X amount of pages to a certain fan fiction. It doesn't have to be great, because that's what fan fiction is. Is that goal number 10?
Yes. Okay. Goal number 10. I would put out 5 pages a month of this fan fiction. I would put out a chapter a month of this fan
What's
fiction.
the first fan fiction? You gotta give them a carrot to chase after.
Oh, man. I mean, Zatara is the one that floats around in my mind the most.
So Avatar: The Last Airbender?
Yes. That's what it would be. It'd be an alternate universe. I got it in my head. It's great.
Better than Shyamalan's.
You know,
put it that way.
I don't even know what his is.
Poor Shyamalan.
It was horrible.
Yes, it was bad.
It was horrible. The whole fan community just pretends like it never existed.
It's fine.
You notice they only got halfway through and they didn't make another.
Everyone does their shitty. We've had shitty episodes. He's had shitty multi-million-dollar movies.
As shitty as that movie. Have we had an episode as shitty as that movie?
I don't know. That's up to them to decide.
I feel like we haven't.
So that is it for our news this week. But we do have, since it is the first episode of the month, what is new on Netflix?
Yee!
These are the April 2018 highlights. So we give you what relates to the show, what you need to be adding to your queue.
This, of course, is not the full list. You can Google what's new on Netflix April 2018, read the full list of everything that's showing up, what dates they show up, and everything that's leaving as well. But our highlights start out with Battlefield Earth. I don't know what the fuck this is.
It is a movie as bad as Shyamalan's Avatar:
Then
The Last Airbender.
why'd you even put it on there? Who wants to watch it?
Because it is good for bad movie night. Unlike Last Airbender, this is actually kind of entertaining. It is John Travolta being goofy as shit.
So, being John Travolta.
Being modern John Travolta,
Okay.
yes.
All
I like
right.
John Travolta. He's done good stuff in the past.
All right. Next is Cabin Fever. Don't know what that is either.
What is his name from Boy Meets World, Corey's best friend? Sean?
Sean.
He did this movie, and this is why I initially saw it, because I'm like, I know that guy. And it is all about people, all these teens getting a disease, and they're slowly dying off. But it is a parody. Like, it is a horror parody where these horny teens, like, eventually Sean and some other girl, like, get it on, but she's sick or he's sick. One of them is contagious. They think each other is contagious, but they can't help it. They still fuck. And when they do, like, she's cleaning herself off so bad. At one point, like, the disease pretty much makes you deteriorate, and as she's shaving her legs, like, her skin comes off.
Oh, why do you watch this?
But it's funny. Like, it's done in a funny way.
No.
Sean puts Listerine on his dick. Like, he pours it. He's like, ah! And it burns him.
Of course it would.
So it's one of those, like, if you want to laugh at a horror movie, that's the one you want to go. And they did it intentionally.
Why could they just not resist?
He's like, we could not die, but I need to come right now.
Okay, there's other ways to do that. Oh my
Agreed.
God. I can't. The mom in me is just like, you brought this on yourself.
You're irresponsible.
You made an adult decision, now you live with the adult consequence. I use that line all the fucking time at work, and they're like, fine, mom.
It's a good line.
It's great.
Mortal Kombat. Dun 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 dun. Mortal Kombat.
Is that really how it goes?
No, that is how it goes. That's perfect. Like, your brain pulled that from the past. And have you ever seen that?
No, my brain pulled that from like fucking air. Just created it.
I'm always forever impressed by your brain's memory. Like, it always blows me away that the things you remember.
I remember much less nowadays, so thank you.
You're still not to my level of non-remembrance.
But here's the thing, you remember things we said on the show like 4 years ago. I don't remember what we said last week.
So Mortal Kombat, of course, it's fine. It's okay. I like Mortal Kombat. I'm going to say that. It's not a great movie, but I enjoy it.
All right, that's on there. Next is Disney's Pirates of the Caribbean Dead Man's Chest. Was that the one with what's her name and I really hated it and the mermaids? No, that's the third.
This
second
is the
one?
second one.
The second one.
The worst one, in my opinion.
Man, that second and third one pissed me off with Elizabeth just fucking kissing everybody and there's Krakens and killing people and Davy Jones and bullshit and Commodore Norrington dies and...
Poor Norrington.
I know, right? He just wanted to love her and then he saved her in the end and then fucking died for it.
That's the one good thing that came out of the second one. Although you get a hint of it in the first Pirates of the Caribbean, where they could have shot them like fucking pirates and blown them away and that could have been the end. But instead, like in the first one, he says, "Is this where your heart lies, Elizabeth?"
And
he lets her go.
Truly where your heart lies. It is.
You know it better than I do. And it's like, all right. And they go and that's it. In the second one, he fucking dies for her. That's probably the best thing the most character development was from Norrington himself.
It was. He was great in the end.
He was very good. Now, who is the other guy? And the only reason I like this character, and not enough to know his name, but he died when he was going down the ship and it was all blowing apart.
I don't know his name either. Commodore Fuckface or something. I don't know.
But Fuckface gave us the greatest slow motion scene in any Pirates of the Caribbean. Almost in any fucking movie. His ship is deteriorating in slow motion around them. Wood is splintering as cannonballs go through it, just as his hand had gracefully, slowly went across the railing, and it's just blowing apart. And it's CGI as fuck, but I love it. I adore that scene.
Is that your favorite scene in all the Pirates? All 17 pirate movies that we have now?
No, my favorite scene is, I feel cold. And he died. It's because it means so much. He feels.
But
and
what
that's
about
what
when he came back at the end of the second one?
Yeah, that was good too.
Now where's my ship? The whole audience went, fuck!
That was hilarious because I'm like, since when do you guys fucking like this guy? When do you guys like Jeffrey Rush?
No, we all booed in my theater.
You guys booed?
Yeah, we hated him. We're like, why is he back?
And why was he back? Like, he could have just never come back.
So that we could get that scene in the final movie where he says, "You were my treasure."
Oh, yes. That was fucking good.
And I'm like, why don't you just throw the sword down at it? Whatever.
Or if he tries to climb up, just keep stabbing him. Like, no, fuck you, man. Like, keep poking at him. Poke his fingers, poke his hands, poke his eye.
Break his arm.
It's movie logic, you know?
What if he climbs at you with a big dildo? Break his arms, break his legs. Oh my God.
Yeah, I was happy that he came back. I was like, fuck yeah, Jeffrey Rush came back. My favorite villain. Amazing. No longer a villain, though.
No?
Next Netflix movie. Sin City.
I saw the second one, never saw the first one.
Another Frank Miller work.
Yeah.
There you go.
We also have Speed Racer.
Yes, fucking Speed Racer. I saw that in theaters. I loved it.
It was pretty good. No, I really liked it.
People really hated it. They said it was overdone with the CGI, with the green screen.
I thought it worked well. Everything's fucking overdone with the CGI and the green screen.
It is. And we're normally people that are like, yeah, fuck CGI. They should have done this practical. And it was fully 100% green screen. But I love that fucking movie. And I don't know if it was because the story and the characters and the acting was so good. John Goodman is in this fucking thing. And he does it so well. He fucking wrestles these assholes, throws them around. Directors from the Matrix. So I don't know what people were fucking expecting. I don't know if they were expecting something like Matrix. It's like, no, this is the fucking Speed Racer cartoon done in live action. You get the lines in the background. I think it was because it was the first movie to do it kind of like an anime, which was Speed Racer. And it got criticized for it. And it didn't do well in the box office. And I remember I saw it. I loved it. And then years later, it's like now it's slowly getting recognition. It's like, I've been like, really guys, watch Speed Racer. If you're a fan of Speed, this was the cartoon in which he would race guys and then get mad, get out of the cars and kick their fucking ass. Like he would, like it wasn't just the cars. And in this movie, we got Speed kicking ass. We saw John Goodman kicking ass. And you see the fucking little kid who normally like child actors are annoying as shit. This kid killed it. He flicks off the fucking guy from the, I don't know. I think he was in in Happy Gilmore, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not. I might get my actors confused, but this was such a good fucking movie. If you did not see it in theaters, if you've never seen Speed Racer, and you've seen Speed Racer in the past, the cartoon, which are all on Hulu, watch this live action Speed Racer. I recommend it. I recommend it over some superhero movies even. Watch it. Trust me.
Another one that comes highly recommended from us is The Iron Giant.
Everyone's seen it.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's loved it.
Everyone should have seen it.
Iron Giant apparently shows up in Ready Player One, which we saw in the trailers.
Yeah. Superman. Mama Coco.
I saw a meme on Twitter where it was just screenshots, and it's Hogarth, and he's like, "You are who you choose to be," and it's that scene where he's almost getting blown away, and it shows the Iron Giant with the red eyes, and then they cut to a scene in Ready Player One where he's using the red eyes to blow fucking people away.
That's horrible. Aww.
Despicable Me 3. I only included this because those fucking little yellow things, the Minions, popular as shit.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's in every other state, but here in Florida, they're all over Universal Studios. People buy the shit out of the merchandise. You see it on cars as decals.
Mm-hmm.
They are massive.
I have never seen a Despicable Me movie. I probably never will see one unless our kid finds it and wants to watch it. But I know a lot of people who are in love with the Minions. And everything I've seen from the Minions, I'm just, they're there.
Right.
They say banana.
One wears a thong. I saw that in the trailer.
Yeah, it's not for us. But yes, very popular. So if you like the Minions, Despicable Me 3.
Something for Kelly. Season 2. The Magic fucking School Bus.
Right on the Clarify, the Magic School Bus rides again, where they changed up everybody and all the romances are gone.
So is it bad?
It's not bad. I still enjoy watching it. Magic School Bus Rides Again is much more political than the first one. So now we tackle things like global warming.
There was evolution in the first one, though.
There was
like
an
in the
evolution.
original. Wasn't there? Or what? I thought there was global warming in the original, too.
No, there was recycling and why we need to recycle. And then there were Christmas songs like, oh, here we go, recycling to save the ding. Here we go, recycling to keep the planet clean.
Weren't there dinosaurs, though? And they said millions of years ago, which is controversial to some.
Yes, they do say millions of years, and they talk about how things are billions of years old. They talk about all that kind of stuff, which, yes, was controversial. And they were very feminist for their time.
Mm-hmm.
But the new one, it straight up does global warming. They go into the ice thing and look back in time and say, oh, oxygen levels were this much and now they're this much. And if we continue going down this path, it's going to be even worse. So these are the things you need to do to stop that. Pretty cool. There's some cool episodes. The thing is, they just change the character so much. Like, Wanda is one of my favorite characters from the original because she's all badass and she's like, you Weasley wimps and motherfuckers.
Goddamn pussies.
We're just going to go do this. This is so cool. And so they got rid of Phoebe because Phoebe was the other white girl. And they pretty much made
2018, yeah.
They pretty much made Wanda Phoebe. So Phoebe before was like, we need to go save all these animals. And then Wanda was like, nah, they're fine. Cut to a year later, Wanda's like, I got this big book of animals to save. I'm like, fuckers.
Since when do you care about that? And it isn't the same continuity because the torch is passed on from one Frizzle to another. From
Valerie to Fiona. That's their names.
Again, why you should do a Magic School Bus podcast,
I would love to get into, like, I know all the psychology behind Magic School Bus.
Should we do a Patreon exclusive, let's watch Magic School Bus while it's still on Netflix? Do an episode by episode commentary? And I could just be like, interesting. And I'd be learning everything from you.
You would be. I could tell you a whole lot about Magic School Bus.
Give me a piece of trivia, like another piece of trivia. Like, again, another carrot.
What haven't I given you? So I told you about the relationships, right? Wanda and Arnold are together.
Yes.
And Carlos and DA are together.
Right.
And I'm slowly working as I watch these episodes. I'm putting them in chronological order in my head, not just based off the things that they know or don't know, because that's what you would think. Like, they learned that in this episode earlier, but in this episode they don't know it. So obviously this episode comes before that one. Right? You would think.
You would.
But now I'm looking at how the characters interact with each other and putting it in order based upon that. Because I'm like, in this episode, Wanda and Carlos really hate each other. That's the beginning of their budding relationship. And over here, they're working together or they're jumping in to help each other all the time. So obviously that's further down the line. It's a sickness.
So would we watch the commentary in order? Like, you know how you have the machete order with Star Wars? Like with Kelly, it'd be like, this is the definitive Magic School Bus order. This is how you're going to watch
and
them.
then there's one episode in season 2 season 3, where they're going through space to find the comet, right? That's the episode it is, where Miss Frizzle has the Princess Leia hair and Liz is dressed like Spock.
It's like Star Trek and Star Wars put together, right?
So Miss Frizzle is doing a Star Trek thing, like, Stardate, da-da-da-da-da, whatever, like they always do in Star Trek. But she says, field trip number 26. So I'm like, okay, that's the 26th one. Some crazy ass shit. Even though it's clearly further than 26 episodes. I don't know. Can I tell you what I do? Oh my God. This is how many times I watch Too Much School Bus. Every time they say something will happen in 30 seconds, so-and-so will be here in 15 minutes, I fucking time that shit. And can I tell you, it's been right 3 out of 4 times.
No shit.
Yes.
And that's hard to do because I guess if you're the editor, you have to make sure that you get enough cells or less of them to match that fucking thing. But even back then, they didn't know that someone, 20 years later, Kelly would be watching on Netflix and timing this shit out.
I take that back because the one time they were off that I found so far, they were at like 12 minutes instead of 15, but there's commercials.
Oh, that's fucking true.
Wow.
So the producer, you'd call in like, Mr. Producer, you said 15 minutes, but it was 12 minutes.
Well, we had to account for commercials.
Well, listen, we had fucking commercials back then, all right? I know you're in 2018 and you can just stream through shit, but back then you couldn't. And how did we fucking know? Right. Thank you. Click.
But it's so cool. Like that's the point of Magic School Bus I am in now. I analyze the art and I analyze the time when they talk about shit. I even look at the blackboards on the back to see what the lesson will be for next week, and that's how I put them in order too.
You might be the biggest school bus fan of all time.
I wouldn't call me a school bus fan, but maybe the most knowledgeable about school bus. I feel at this point I know more than the people who wrote School Bus themselves.
Holy shit.
Because
you know more than the producer?
Because I have watched so much School Bus. Literally, at least, so my kid's 6 months old.
Yeah, I was going to say, to someone this episode is their first one ever, why do you watch someone's School Bus?
So our kid is 6 months old. When he first came home, he was a very noisy sleeper, so I could not sleep. So I told Daniel, just put on Netflix, and School Bus Rides Again was on. So he's like, cool, this is a kid's show, whatever, we'll put it on.
This was my doing. Holy shit.
This is your doing. So we put on School Bus Rides Again so that I could sleep, because that background noise would be over his breathing. And that led me into the original School Bus. So I watched all of School Bus Rides Again, got sick of it because there was only 10 episodes at the time. I said, cool, School Bus Rides Again, 52 episodes, 4 seasons, or the original Magic School Bus. Let's start watching that. And now that is all my kid falls asleep to. Mm-hmm. I put on School Bus and he will drop like a light because that's what he's heard for the last 6 months of his life.
For his whole life.
For his whole life. Since he came home, he's heard Magic School Bus, and I can get him to sleep in 10 to 22 minutes because that's how long an episode is 22 minutes. So I always put this on, and then I just fucking leave it on because he sleeps through it and I'm on my phone or whatever. Why change it? Because he's asleep. So I have seen every episode of School Bus, I would say at minimum 8 times each. At minimum.
Is he going to fall asleep during science class when he grows up? Like, I'm curious.
Only if Miss Frizzle, Lily Tomlin jumps in there.
Because I'm thinking, and there's another thing I want to get to, but I'm thinking like he's hearing all these terminologies, mm-hmm. right, as a baby, and he equates it to falling asleep. So whenever they get to the volcanoes in science class, is he just going to be like, oh, fuck, I don't know why I'm so fucking tired. Jesus. And is that going to be, like, that psychologically changes, which isn't a bad thing either, because no matter what you fall asleep to, it's always going to fuck you up. But, like, that's what I'm thinking now, is in science class, is that going to be his weakest subject or his strongest?
I feel like his strongest, because if he falls asleep to it, he's at least hearing it in his sleep too, to learn all these things. I think it's a mix of the voice and the music. Can I tell you how great they did that? I need a podcast. Shit, man, the music is so great in that show too. Anyway, we got to move on. I could talk about School Bus all day. I could do an hour podcast just on School Bus.
And before we get off on that, and it has nothing to do with School Bus, but you said his breathing would keep you up. Mm-hmm. And then people are like, what do you mean fucking breathing? But when you're a parent, there's some biological thing that snaps on in your brain where you're hyper aware of what your offspring is doing. Mm-hmm. and it's something even like sometimes you'll be like, and I give you more credit because I'm like, you're probably more aware than I am because you're a mother, and mothers biological are more, I don't know, more aware of it.
Did I ever tell you they've done scientific studies that baby cells are in mothers' brains?
Yes, you told me about that.
Leo's cells are in my brain, and we don't know what purpose they serve, except that his fucking cells are in my brain.
Mm-hmm. Well, like sometimes I'll be like, is he, like I'll check if he's breathing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the weird things you do as a parent when it's like,
yes.
you rather be sure.
Right.
You know what I mean? And me, I'm already that kind of guy that double checks things just to, I don't know, something in my brain where I have to make sure of certain things. And it's weird things.
OCD.
I guess it's an OCD. Is that what it? But
yes.
No, I feel like OCD is worse. Like OCD is like, close the door twice, that kind of thing.
There's different forms of OCD.
Right. Okay. Well, maybe that's what it is. Then my OCD to my child living, there's worse things.
Right.
So anyone that's not a parent, that your breathing, your child's breathing will affect whether you sleep that night.
Yes, it does. It's crazy because any sigh he makes, like I wake up, and it's gotten to the point where I have to sleep in a different part of the bed. Because if he rolls over, I will wake up.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and the final thing on Netflix, guys. How you doing? You're still tuned in. Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Finally,
is going back on Netflix.
We can go watch some Bill Nye, except his science is very outdated. My school bus covers their ass by saying, "With what we know now, this is what happens." Bill Nye didn't do that.
I still like that people are saying, "Well, he didn't have a fucking science degree." It's
so?
like, okay, so we can fact check the science that he had on the show. Oh wait. We can, and at those dates they were fine. No, fuck off, man. Like I hate that fucking bullshit. He might as well have been a host. Like just because he's called Bill Nye the Science Guy, that's the fucking term of the fucking show. That's what he made his career out of. Jesus, people take this shit seriously, man.
I'll start watching some Bill Nye and then expand my 5th grade science knowledge, which I have a lot of.
It's good knowledge though, honestly. It's pretty good.
I mean, I feel like I love when people bring up something at work and I'm like, well, actually, and like I'm spouting off all these facts and they're like, how do you know that? I'm like, Magic School Bus.
According to my research.
Shut up, DA. Fucking hate DA. With their little ponytails that stay up when you take out the hair things.
So before we head into our Patreon shoutouts of the week and our comic book review, let's head into our Brocat block, which is the backgrounds of the show. What happened this week?
So what happened for me this week is I watched some more Magic School Bus.
No, but something that has been, you saw online, I saw it on Twitter,
mm-hmm.
And that is the Disney Pixar, was it the bracket?
Mm-hmm.
So what exactly is that?
So you have, I mean, much like you do with sports teams, you have 2 different brackets. A great example is football. You have the AFC, NFC. And as people win, they move forward in the bracket. So they do that where you have all the Disney movies on one side, all the Pixar movies on the other side. And people are going around rating, okay, between these 2, I like this one best. And then between these 2, I like this one best until you get to the very final one. The problem with that, this is causing a lot of hate because, of course, the oldies like us are looking at the Disney Channel, or the original animated movies and saying, yes, these are the best. And then you have people who are 10 years younger seeing the new ones like Tangled and Moana and saying, no, these are the best. Minora, I'm sorry. Yes, Minora. And then on the other side, you have all the Pixar ones. Again, I've seen Cars 3 beat out Coco. That blows my mind. But so it's causing a lot of hate between people.
Because that car is gay.
Was there a gay car in there?
Yeah, they hinted at the main racer at the end is gay.
Oh, okay. Whatever. So it's causing a lot of problems between people. Ultimately, I just say, which is your favorite movie? Because obviously that's what's going to win. You're not going to get, ooh, I like both of these and they both got to the end. Which one? It's all opinion.
Well, I tweeted the definitive list.
Oh, okay.
Based on what I did.
Yes.
But we're going to see where Kelli disagrees.
Okay.
And it might be where we actually do relate on a lot of things. So we're going to give you the breakdown on where Kelli and I stand between Disney and Pixar and kind of give you the tournament breakdown, where the matchups are, why we like certain movies, where we agree and disagree. And so this is going to be a longer episode for all of you, and it's Disney. Everyone's seen this fucking movie, so you can relate too. Let us know where you stand on this Disney bracket. The first one, and this is all on the Disney side, Disney animated movies. Lion King versus Tarzan. Who do you pick and why?
Lion King, because Tarzan wasn't that great of a movie.
Jesus. Content, everyone. Here you go. I think Lion King definitely had more impact as a movie. There's scenes in their character development. It's just Hamlet, sure, but...
And you want to talk about music. Sure, you had Phil Collins, who did Tarzan.
Most of that fucking soundtrack.
He tried really hard, and he put some good songs in there. But on the flip side, you have Be Prepared and Hakuna Matata. Who doesn't know Hakuna Matata?
And speaking of gay characters, Timon and Pumbaa.
Yes, clearly gay.
Go. So way before Cars 3.
And then you have Elton John, Can You Feel the Love Tonight?
More gay.
More
there
gay?
There you
go. Is that what wins? Like, which movie's more gay?
I'm just saying.
Because the other one has Rosie O'Donnell, so...
Oh, yeah, but I think Elton John's gayer than Rosie.
All right.
Like, if you look at both, you're like, he looks more gay.
Okay.
And if you get mad at that, it's like, I'm not saying anything negative or positive. I'm simply stating a fact. If you view that as negative, you're the intolerant one.
You're gay.
You're gay.
The next one.
Next movie before we get another bad iTunes review. Princess and the Frog versus Lilo and Stitch.
Princess and the Frog.
I agree. Look, we're agreeing 100% on these.
We are.
Prince and the Frog only because of the little lightning bug.
Wasn't the alligator gay too?
Maybe.
The little lightning bug was great with whatever her name was in the sky.
He's in love with a star.
Yes.
Possibly a planet. I don't know. A sun?
Lilo and Stitch was good for a lot of reasons. I liked the message behind it about family. There's some things that I've read where, for example, she picked Stitch, even though they said Stitch was terrible, Stitch was broken, all these things, because that's how she felt and wanted to give him a family. I think those things are really sweet. I think the place where they lost me was the big shark captain guy and the weird, that other little weird alien. He is gay, actually.
The one that's actually tracking him down?
The yellow, were they only in the, no, they were in the movie. The shark captain?
It's been a long time since I've seen
the shark captain and the shark captain's sidekick. Yeah, the sidekick is gay. Because in the TV series, he cross-dresses all the time.
That doesn't mean you're gay. That just means he feels right.
Whatever.
There's cross-dressers that are still straight.
All right. Listen. So there's a lot of good, there's a lot of good elements in Lilo and Stitch. Like her sister getting fired from her job because of Lilo. And she's just like, nah, my boss is just a vampire. Like, trying to give her a great life. But it lost me in some other parts. Princess and the Frog, I liked it. I thought it was a more complete, well-rounded movie throughout. Continue. Next
bracket, it is Tangled versus Big Hero 6.
Tangled.
Why? I'm going Big Hero 6.
Oh, no, Big Hero 6 was good. I cried in that one, too. I cried more in Tangled.
I don't care for either of these movies, but I care slightly more, or slightly, I'm for Big Hero 6. Because
Why?
The opening...
Of the brother love?
Yeah, the brother dying. Yeah, I guess it would be it. Tangled, there was nothing in that I related to. I know there was a big thing that the Disney prince had a goatee. Ooh, they're so Like, I know that was the big thing, and then and there was like the cosplayer at Disney that's hired by Disney, where like he was getting hit on a shit ton because he could actually have a fucking goatee, and it's like, this is what we're taking out of this fucking movie. This movie is nothing.
That's not what I got. I did like Flynn Rider. But the thing that I liked in Tangled, and I watched it again recently, and it strikes me differently now because I'm a parent, because the whole thing about it is the daughter was taken away from the parents. And they spent 18 years still celebrating her birthday, even though their child was gone. Even though somebody had kidnapped, they had not seen their child in 18 years, they still had that love for that kid. At the end, seeing her see her father for the first time, see her mom for the first time in 18 years, that moment of love I thought was very well depicted.
Mm-hmm.
But I also loved the moment with Flynn Rider where he's fucking dying and she has the opportunity to save him. But because she will be locked away forever, it's not worth it to him. She is more important than he is, than his fucking life in that moment. And that's why he cuts off her hair, fucking kills the evil witch, even though he knows, like, this is the last thing I get to do. But I know she gets to live a full life of freedom, which is what she's always wanted.
Well, damn. Like, I can relinquish that point already. I'm like, all right, you're probably right on that. Doesn't matter, though, because the next movie is better than this one.
Mm-hmm.
Frozen versus Minora.
Oh, Moana, of
yes.
course. I watched that movie many times, too. I have all the songs stuck in my head.
With Mama Coco in it?
Yes.
Turns into a stingray at the end?
You know what gets me more than that, though, and I mentioned that again because I'm a parent now, is that moment after the grandma dies and Moana's, like, filling up everything, and the mom busts in and sees her, and with tears in her eyes helps her daughter pack and hands her the bag because she knows it's what she is. It's not what she wants for her child, but this is what her child needs to do to feel complete. And she doesn't know if she's ever going to see her kid. As far as she knows, her kid is dead, and then that's it. But it's what her kid needs to do.
Yeah, there's a lot of heavy moments in this. I think the other one, too, is when the Rock's character, what's his name? Maui? When Maui tells her straight up, you're only here because the ocean told you you're special, and you're not. And there's just like this big fallout moment, which is always in every one of these fucking movies. And that's my biggest criticism about these kids' movies is there's something that where the characters end up disagreeing and everyone's sad. And it's like it's the only formula that sometimes they can follow with these animated movies. And we got that in Minora. And this is why it's not my favorite Disney movie. But it is better than Frozen. And I know a lot of people give credit to Frozen because there wasn't a love story, because it's all about sisterly love. But we didn't like Frozen. I
just didn't like it, yeah.
I think Minora was more heartfelt. There was more to it.
I think the thing with Frozen 2 is it was too overdone. By the time it was all said and done, it was so blown out of proportion that it was just too much.
So Minora is the winner on that. Going down this bracket now, the first part of it, we're going to have the first champion, I guess, in the first quarter. So Lion King versus Minora, because that's how these broke out. Which is the better
really
film?
Good.
Which is the better
Lion
film?
King's the better
film. The Lion
film.
King. Thank you. Yes. Better done, better acted, better music. That music is about the same. Better animated, even though one's hand-drawn, one's completely computer animated. But Lion King has several portions in there that were CGI. But as a kid, even now, you can't really tell that's definitely... Like, they computer animated the drawings, which was awesome. So, yeah, I agree. So Lion King right now, we're completely in agreement on the Disney side. That is the first champion. There's 2 quarters in this Disney side, and the first one is the Lion King. Aladdin versus Hercules in quarter 2.
Ooh, that's a tough one for me. They were both really good. I think I'm probably going to have to go with Aladdin.
I disagree. Hercules.
Yeah? Apologies to any new listeners. We had to take a quick break because much like the genie in Aladdin, as soon as I get summoned to go pick up my child, I gots to, because it's his mommy time. If he is not with mommy, he is like Hades from Hercules. See how I tied all that in? I'm perfect.
Perfect. Yeah, I will tell you, I liked Hercules more, simply based on the fat lady, the singing one.
Really? That's it? That's the only reason you like Hercules more.
And I also like that whoever voices, his name escapes me now, Hades.
Wasn't it James Earl Jones?
No, James Woods.
James Woods.
Thank you.
Thanks. Somebody.
James Woods refuses to let anyone else voice.
That is true. That is true.
I learned that from Scott from Lazy Gaming Guys.
I told you that.
And I learned it from you. I learned it from you first, and I relearned it from Scott. Everyone is happy now.
Thank you.
So he will always voice Hades as long as he's alive.
Mm-hmm.
So that is another reason. Like, it's more dedicated than Aladdin.
Really? Because Jafar is like a great villain.
He's good, but Hades is more relatable.
And you know, Aladdin is post-apocalyptic world, right? It's like way set in the future. Hell yeah! Did you not see all of the modern references that what's his name put in there?
Oh, the genie?
Genie? Yeah. There's a bunch of modern references. So the theory is it's a post-apocalyptic world because all this shit has already happened. It's not in the past. It's in the future. And it's got some great songs. Compare Hercules songs to Aladdin songs. Which do you know more of?
One like a hero, hero zero. One like a hero. Do yours.
Arabian night, like Arabian days.
Fine. Songs are better than Aladdin.
Street
I will give you that.
I don't buy that. And then he goes through a fucking brothel. And do you know why they were mean to him? Because he was poor and he had no money. That's why they were all shitty and kicked him out.
Because it wouldn't pay those women anything.
Yeah. And Aladdin has no nipples.
Fine.
I liked both movies. I think I just like Aladdin a little bit more.
Next bracket, Little Mermaid versus Pocahontas.
Pocahontas.
Me too. I agree.
Easy.
Yes.
I've only
Better
seen
movie.
Little Mermaid once.
Fucking Christian Bale killing off Cocoam. Poor Cocoam.
Aw, poor Cocoam.
Thank you. You finally agree with me.
No, fuck Cocoam. Glad he's dead.
Mulan versus Zootopia.
Ooh, this one's tough for me too.
Mulan's a better movie.
I still really like Zootopia. There's a lot of things I like about Zootopia, but I like Mulan better.
Yeah, I think Mulan is more balanced overall. Zootopia is very political, and it does have a message behind it, which is what Hollywood loves, and that's one of the things that we did praise it for when we reviewed it. But Mulan is definitely more watchable, more enjoyable, and I think overall a better movie. It's got that villain that you always mention. What's his name?
Shan Yu.
Shan Yu, who, as you always say, isn't surprised that Mulan fucked up his army. Why?
because the Huns back in history, their women fought alongside them too. So for him, it's not weird that a woman, it's just the soldier from the mountain.
I learned in history that they actually had their babies on their back strapped as they fought in war because no one else was going to watch the babies.
Right.
So they were fucking murdering people.
With their babies.
With their babies strapped to their fucking back. Like, is there anything more womanly than that? Like, I can't say manly, but
no, more womanly. That's pretty more badass than that.
Yeah, there you go. Badass.
And can you imagine the strength you have to carry? Our kid's fucking 17 pounds. To carry 17 extra pounds while I'm swinging.
That kind of balances out the front baggage, though, that you get as being a mother.
I guess.
You know?
Yeah.
There you go. More biology.
Thanks. And then there's that cool line. How many men does it take to deliver a message? Just one. Swing! Fucking kills that guy. Ugh.
Mulan is the winner.
So cool.
And the winner of this first complete quarter, I'm going to say both quarters, I'm going to tell you right now, it's fucking Beauty and the Beast versus Nightmare Before Christmas.
Of course, Beauty and the Beast.
No, I appreciate Nightmare Before Christmas, what it did with stop motion picture, and I wish these weren't put up against one another, because then Nightmare Before Christmas would have made it
farther, yeah.
But any movie on Disney's side that you put up against Disney's Beauty and the Beast wins. It doesn't matter. So no discredit to Nightmare Before Christmas. Now, this is the problem with brackets anyway. But Beauty and the Beast is the better movie. It almost really won for... It was nominated. It was the first animated movie to win to nominate for Best Picture, which is a bigger deal because back then it was only...
there was an animated category.
Yes.
It went up against Silence of the Lambs, and that's who it lost to.
Exactly. And not only that, but it was before they had 10 fucking movies on their Best Picture.
There were 5.
Back then there were 5. And Beauty and the Beast was on that fucking shit.
It's a very complete movie. It's one of the only Disney princesses movies where they fall in love over time. You see the passage of time for them to fall in love. It's talking about how beauty is not skin deep. It's got some fantastic songs written by Broadway stars, voiced by Broadway stars.
Every song in that movie is perfect.
Yes.
There's nothing you can do to those songs to improve them.
And they tried. They tried in the sequel. And it just, they were okay, but...
It's also got the ugliest prince in all of Disney movies.
who was the handsomest as the Beast. Okay, anyway.
So, there we go. Our first round of winners. So we went Lion King we knew was the winner. It won over Minora. What is the better movie, Pocahontas or Beauty and the Beast?
Beauty and the Beast.
Easily.
Yes.
Blows it away.
Pocahontas is still great. Again, those Broadway songs, Broadway-style songs, but still Beauty and the Beast.
So 2 very well done movies, Lion King versus Beauty and the Beast. Done. Easy. Another easy one. So, that is our first champion on the Disney side. It is Beauty and the Beast. Beauty and the Beast is the best animated movie from Disney ever.
Yes.
You may disagree. You are wrong. Beauty and the Beast is better. One thing that is not on here is Fantasia.
I don't really like Fantasia.
Fantasia does beat out a shit ton of these, though. It's better than Princess and the Frog, Lilo and Stitch, Tarzan. I would put it ahead of Lion King, Big Hero 6, Frozen, Minora. A lot of these, I think, except for...
Beauty and the Beast.
Maybe Beauty and the Beast and The Night Before Christmas. Like, those are very good movies. But yeah, Beauty and the Beast would have been the winner anyway, so it does not matter if it was included or not. Over to the Pixar side. Starting off, and this is the argument forever, like what is better, computer animation today versus traditional animation, which is hand-drawn. Computers versus wrists. Up, who was the first animated movie to be nominated for Best Picture since Beauty and the Beast, and fuck Up because of that, because it was back when they expanded it to 10 movies, so fuck yourself, Up. But Up versus Brave.
I like Up better. Just because of that first 10 minutes.
Yes, that itself could have been the movie.
Yes, and Brave told a very good story of a mother and daughter's relationship because it tends to be rocky. It can be rocky. But Up, the first 10 minutes, that whole life that they showed in those first 10 minutes, and then stabbed you in the fucking gut, and then the fact that his whole journey was to put her to rest, to give her what she wanted, and in that he found peace and found other relationships. That is very good.
When he could never flip through the end of their memory books because it was blank pages.
I got goosebumps already.
I know. Blank pages because he knew he couldn't take her on that journey of what they decided they were going to do for their whole life. He failed her in life is what he always viewed it as. And then it's not until, 3/4 of the way through where he goes to the back end of the book and she had added all of these pages of their life.
Of their adventures that they had in every fucking day things. Going to the grocery store. I don't know. They're doing all these things together. Their life together was her adventure. And it didn't have to be anything big.
And it said, thank you for this adventure. And it just kills you, man. It kills you. And that's the thing that this is where he finally like has that piece of realizing that was their adventure. And that's something that I guess he never saw or was blinded to.
Right.
He was always stuck on her being the adventure. That was her thing. And that's the thing. And that he never could give her that, but it was like in the end.
He gave her so much more.
Yes. And it killed me too when they couldn't have kids. It's like, Jesus Christ, like at the very first 10 minutes of the movie, and Leo's looking at me like, what the fuck? He's laughing. He's like my friend Clayton who laughed during that moment in the movie, like, haha, they can't have kids. I'm like, Jesus, Clayton. He's got dark humor behind him, but where it's like, it was, this is all they had was each other.
Right.
And I think, Up, good for it. Not best picture material, but I think it's weak to me, but it beats out Brave. Because those 10 minutes were so strong and that realization, everything around it was so much weaker in comparison. I think it's a victim of its own excellent writing.
It is.
The next one to go up against Up, who is it going to be? Toy Story versus Toy Story 2.
Ooh, I think I like Toy Story 1 better.
I agree.
So, and Toy Story 2 was good too. I really like all three Toy Stories. I think, again, I like them better now as a parent because what the movies really are learning to let your kids grow up. Learning to let them move on. So Woody's whole thing is he's been with Andy his whole life, but now Andy has a new toy. Andy has a girlfriend, essentially, or, you know, somebody who's more important in their life than you, and learning how to let them go through that. And you follow all three movies up until the end when you learn to let them go off to college, which is what Andy eventually does. But the first one for me, and I'm sure I've told this on the podcast before, that was the first movie I ever saw in theaters. Was Toy Story. My dad took me, I was 5 years old. I remember sitting in the theater for that movie. I don't remember all the movie. I thought I fell asleep halfway through. But that was the first one that I saw. And I have since then seen all three Toy Stories with my dad in theaters. It's just,
that's awesome.
We just go to see them because that was the first movie he took me to. But that one for me was so much stronger than the second one. The second one still had good moments. We got to see...
It's hilarious.
We got to see the different characters. But the first one really sticks out for me. Yeah,
Toy Story 2 is all about the collector. You know, it's more about the characters themselves than it is about the overall message of the movie. So I completely agree. There's not much more I can say. So that's going to go up against Up. But let's keep going down the bracket. Coco versus Cars 3.
Coco. Easy.
Yeah, that's another one that I think has way more heart than Cars 3. And I get Cars 3 is like a Rocky movie. It is about the trainer the racer becoming the trainer.
Right.
He becomes Doc McGuffin or whatever the fuck his name is. So I like Cars 3 more than Cars 2. And I know a lot of people are like, yeah, Cars 2 was shit. It's like, all right, I like Cars 1 too. But that Cars 1 is actually my favorite of the whole bunch. Cars 3 was a little too predictable. It was too flashy with the goofy shit.
The thing about Cars 3 is you said from the trailer, this is what's going to happen. Coco, I did not figure it out until the very end. And then it's like, oh shit, this makes so much sense that they would do this.
And there's nothing wrong with knowing what's going to happen. But if that journey is rich enough, great. But Cars 3, it wasn't. With Coco, I know a lot of, especially Mexicans, like my family, my family really liked it because of that, where it's like, they had that Speedy Gonzalez effect of me and many other Mexican Americans at the time of like, no, don't get rid of Speedy. He's good. He's a positive symbol in our culture. Literally that's all we have like right now in the US. And with Coco, it was more genuine, more like there's the fucking hard ass grandma. And even my dad, who's as Mexican as they come, like he came out over as an immigrant, worked and got his citizenship, everything. You know, he went the whole 9 yards where he's like, no, people need to work towards it. He's that guy where he's like, no, they need to work towards their citizenship. They can't just work here. So I'm like, damn, Dad. He's like old school Mexican. But also like real with what's happening. He went and saw Coco and he doesn't like going to the movies. He does not like them. He's like Riggs. He does not like movies. He mostly falls asleep in them. And he went and he saw the whole thing and he told me, they shouldn't have crushed his guitar at the beginning of the movie.
Like that was too hard.
Like that was what he took away from it. Like she shouldn't have. Like he didn't like the grandma. Not the great grandma who was Coco, but he didn't like the grandma. He's like, no, she was era la más cabrona. She was the toughest, the meanest. You know, that's the fucking thing. Like the meanest one. And that's what he told me. That's what he took away from it. Like they shouldn't have broken his guitar. So we have soft hearts, guys. Yes. We have soft hearts.
It was a good movie. I really enjoyed it. It was a beautiful movie.
It was gorgeous to look at. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Toy Story 3 versus The Good Dinosaur.
I never saw Good Dinosaur, so Toy Story 3.
Yeah, by default. You're right. Toy Story 3.
But also Toy Story 3 had that moment where they're going into the incinerator and they all hold hands.
And it should have been the end?
Yeah, and that should have been the end, and then they die. But it also has the sweet moment where they learn to let Andy go off to college. But through that, they get a new playmate, somebody to have fun with, is the little girl.
Little Boo, yeah. It was fucking Boo.
Bonnie. No, Boo was in the daycare.
Yeah, I know. So Toy Story 1 versus Toy Story 3 for the champion of the first quarter on the Pixar side.
Toy Story 1.
Yeah, I think that's a more standalone movie. It tells a better story, and yeah, the graphics are worse, but honestly, the better villain is Sid. The kid that breaks his fucking toys, as opposed to the bear who was forgotten, and it's like, I get it, I understand, but he had a churn that was way worse than what we got with Sid. Sid's just a fucking shitty kid. He probably has shitty parents, and he did. We saw that in the movie. So Toy Story 1, clearly better than Toy Story 3. That's our first champion. Next bracket, Ratatouille versus A Bug's Life.
Ratatouille.
Yes, fucking Ratatouille. We're agreeing on most of these fucking things.
We are. I'm proud of us.
Ratatouille, I adore. That was one of my very first Blu-rays I ever purchased. The first
I remember.
First one I think was Pirates of the Caribbean. I was working at GameStop at the time, and we were taking trade-ins on Blu-rays. It was one of the experiments that we were doing as a company. Blu-rays were fucking expensive. They were $40 to $60.
Yeah.
It was the price of a video game. And when they got traded in, I got my discount and the 10% off from the Power-Up card. So it was like, okay, I can finally buy a Blu-ray because we had a PS3, and that was our Blu-ray player. And that's the genius. This is why the Blu-rays won. I know a lot of people credit it to porn like they did with DVD VHS, and the other thing that I don't remember because of the fact that they fucking lost.
Right.
And Blu-ray porn also went with Blu-ray, but I think the video game consoles played a big part in it, in that it did. The PlayStation was more popular, PS3. It played Blu-ray, which was something that was later adapted and adopted by other companies, and eventually, Blu-ray discs were what video games played on. And now we're moving into a digital age, so sure, but Blu-rays, again, that's why I bought fucking Ratatouille. That's what I'm going to. Jesus, trying to cut this fucking content down. And it was a good fucking movie. There you go.
It was. Better
Bug's
than a
Life is about circus fucking bugs. There.
Bug's Life is about standing up to your bullies. They just didn't do as good of a job.
I love Hopper, though. I love
cool.
Hopper. Like, there's no villain in Ratatouille. There really isn't. Like, I know they portray the food critic, but he's not a villain.
But he's really not, yeah.
But Hopper is portrayed as a villain. I think the best part, and it's a perfect line delivery. I can't think of any better line delivery in the Pixar movies from a villain. And it is where he's beating the shit out of the little flick. And he after they find out that the bird is fucking fake, and he's like, "You think this is a game? Well, guess what? You just lost." And I'm like, he fucking adulted the shit out of fucking Flick and his bullshit. And then the bird eats him. I'm like, okay, Deus Ex Machina over here. Fucking Hopper should have enslaved these fucking ants, I guess. I don't know what the fuck he was doing. But
tried to enslave the ants. Yeah, so Bug's Life is about standing up to bullies, and Ratatouille is about being what you want to be, even if people think that you can't. So, both good messages. I think Ratatouille just delivered it a little bit better.
Now, here's what's funny. Monsters University is not on this list. That message is you actually can't be what you think you want to be.
Yes.
And I think that's a change in how we raised these generations, where I think a lot of people are now saying, do what makes you happy and not do whatever you want to be. You can be anything.
Right.
That's not a realistic message.
It's not. And I would put Monsters University above Ratatouille because I do like that movie more, and that is, like you said, a more realistic message.
Finding Nemo versus Inside Out.
Probably Inside Out.
Really?
Yeah.
I went with Finding Nemo.
Really? I haven't seen Finding Nemo enough, I guess. The thing I take away most from Finding Nemo are those Dory lines that people just repeat. P-22 Wallaby Way, I don't know, Sherman Street, whatever.
They're very similar message. Inside Out is about a father and daughter type of relationship, a girl trying to find her way into growing up, into going through puberty essentially is what it is. And all parents that have daughters, because it is different. Like, I know people are like, oh, men and women are, it's like, well, they grow differently. And in this case, it is a daughter who is going through something very real, something that people with daughters go through. Whereas Finding Nemo is about a single parent. It is about the single parent story. Right. So it's like they're both very grounded in reality. And maybe it's because I love deep sea things more than like this shit. I never liked the concept of anger is a person in your brain. Like, it's too fucking much for me.
I guess.
I don't like the personification of emotions and all that shit.
I liked it for fucking Bimbo or whatever his name was, where he dies at the end.
What? Oh, I know what you're talking about.
And then I cry. I cried because he was gone. I didn't really like either of them. They're not high on my
Whatever
list.
you pick, Ratatouille's better, so it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Next, Monsters, Inc. versus the first Cars.
Monsters, Inc.
Yes, Monsters, Inc. kicks the shit out
Yes,
of...
it was great, and I cry every time, too.
And I like Cars, but Monsters, Inc. is
Monsters,
way better.
Inc.
I mean,
was wonderful.
The friendship between Mike and Sully, and I give a shit ton of credit to the voice actors. Again, John Goodman coming right back and kicking fucking ass. He's one of the main characters. And then you have Mike Wazowski, who kills Billy Crystal.
Mike Wazowski.
Kills that fucking role. No one else can do that shit. And when they did Monsters University, they debated. They tried to pull a Mask of the Phantasm where they're like, should we recast? I know, Leo, like, it's fucking upsetting. Should we try to recast these characters because they're younger?
No.
Or should we give them a shot? And Kevin Conroy's like, let me try to do Bruce Wayne. Let me try to do Bruce Wayne. And he did it. And I guess Andrew Romano or whoever was like, all right, good enough. You got it. And it happened with Arkham Asylum, too. They're like, should we have someone else voice Bruce? You're 58 years old. And he's like, let me try. And he did it. And it's like, thank fucking God, because fans like you and I, even if he sounds old, Arlene Sorkin sounds old as Harley Quinn. I don't give a shit, because that's what Harley fucking sounds like. So fuck off. This is what Sully sounds like. This is what Mike Wazowski fucking sounds like. And Leonardo's looking at me like, Dad, that's brilliant. Yes. He's smiling at me and agreeing. Thank you, Leo. I have my support here.
Monsters Inc. has some great moments too, like put that thing back where it came from.
Or so help me. So help me.
They were great.
Yeah.
That had a great twist too. Like, you never expected what's his name to be behind all of this.
Oh,
and
yes,
then,
Mr. Waternoose.
Waternoose. And then fucking laughter is the way to go.
Hey, that was pretty brilliant. I liked it. And no discredit to Cars. They get shit on a lot. People hate Cars. And I remember even back when it released that people didn't like it. They said it was the first Pixar flop. It's like, no, it made a shit ton of money.
Right.
Fuck off. But that was another one of my first Blu-rays was Cars. And I remember putting it on. And I remember a time when TVs weren't as good as they are now, everyone. So just so you know, Leo, you will never understand that. Where, like, you can see the dirt bricks and dirt, like, fucking little rocks and everything and all that. With Cars was perfect.
What about all Sully's hair moving?
And that was a big deal, too.
Yeah, it was.
When that came, and that didn't come on Blu-ray for a while. And I remember I think we were doing the podcast, and I was like, fucking Monsters Inc.'s finally coming on Blu-ray.
Wow.
So, like, me 4 years ago, I was going off about this. Look at you. You're smiling, Leo. He agrees. And it's like, I don't care if it's outdated technology, the hair follicles don't look as good, but we're going to get it on Blu-ray, and we did, and it looked fucking phenomenal. Back to the bracket. The Incredibles versus Wall-E, Kelly.
Wall-E.
The relationship, I guess, between the two characters is what you most related to?
Yes, it was really sweet. It made me cry. I remember seeing that movie in theaters, too.
That's the pair up, I think, where most Burketts are going to disagree with us, because it seems like people they consider Incredibles the best Pixar movie.
I see. Leo doesn't think so either. I would have to go back and watch Incredibles. I don't remember particularly liking it. Now, again, and this is what my whole life goes back to. As a parent, I may view this movie differently. As someone who is very close to middle age and being stuck in, where I am and knowing that my glory days are behind me, I may pull different things from this movie now, looking at it. As a early 20s, when I first watched it, there wasn't really a lot of things for me. I was out of that age where I was a kid trying to discover myself. I wasn't at the age where I was a parent trying to be a parent and raise my kids right and relive my glory days. So I could get different things now.
And that's exactly what the Incredibles is about. It is about this family unit. It's about he's unhappy at work, but he's unhappy with his family. He's not there. Right. When they're eating dinner, he's just not there at all. And that's where the movie begins. And I think the symbolic churn is when they become superheroes again. They relate to each other. They solve problems. They become a family. Everything works. You're right. That may be a fact that we just don't relate to that. But I related more to the characters in Wall-E. I don't know. It's a love story. We were young. We were watching it. We're still young. I know you say the glory days they may be behind you. Forever, tomorrow will always be my glory day. That's how I view it.
That's good. That's a good way to look at it. Yes, we really enjoyed Wall-E.
That's nice, Daniel.
Wall-E was the first real political Pixar movie, though. Like, the message was very much, we are fucking destroying the earth. And I'm like, oh my god, yeah, we are. We're all gonna be those fat fucks, like, floating around. But it was a sweet movie. It was a fun movie. It was, again, that love story. And in the end, they get back to earth, and that's real cool.
That's right. Ratatouille versus Monsters, Inc.
Monsters, Inc.
100%.
Yep.
100%. I think, yeah, we have that message in Ratatouille, which is a flawed one of you can do whatever you want. It's beautiful. It's nice. Works for film. And I love the fact that the critic takes that Ratatouille, takes that bite, and will forever reference it of he just has this Vietnam flashback of when he was a child. Hurt his knee and his mom made him Ratatouille.
Right.
May not have been to him, it's the best Ratatouille ever because he associates it with that memory. And I think that reminded him of what being a critic is. And it's about cooking from the heart. And it maybe that wasn't the best Ratatouille he ever had, but it brought him back to that moment. So I adore Ratatouille for what it is, but Monsters, Inc., it works on so many fucking levels.
It's got a great message, too. All Pixar movies have great messages.
Maybe. We didn't see The Good Dinosaur.
No, we didn't. Monsters, Inc.'s message is don't criticize somebody before knowing them, essentially. Don't assume that they're evil, because maybe the people you think are good are really evil.
One of the most common themes.
In movies.
Toy Story versus Monsters, Inc.
Monsters, Inc.
Yep. Monsters, Inc. It is the best Pixar movie. We're agreeing. Look at this. It wasn't even a fucking debate. I don't know what all this hoopla on the internet is all about. The Monsters, Inc. movie is the best movie from Pixar, and if you disagree, Jesus, he just threw up all over the place. That's what Leo fucking thinks of your opinion. But this is the definitive list of Monsters, Inc. We adore that movie. It is so fucking good. Now here's where I guess things are supposed to get difficult, and I guess I have to remind everyone, what is the better film? What is the better movie?
Right.
What is a not just the best Pixar, not the best Disney movie, what works as a film? And it is the best hand-drawn animated movie, in our opinion, from Disney, Beauty and the Beast, versus the best computer animated movie, in our opinion, from Pixar so far, which is Monsters, Inc. So Monsters, Inc. versus Beauty and the Beast. Who wins?
Beauty and the Beast,
Beauty and the fucking Beast. Jesus fucking Christ. This is not a debate, everyone.
It's not.
It's the easiest fucking answer.
For people it is. For people it is a debate. And what both of these come down to is, what is your favorite movie? That's really what it comes down to.
Right.
Out of all of these, what is your favorite movie? And for us, it's no debate. It's Beauty and the Beast. They didn't have the mini adventures of Winnie the Pooh. If they had that one on there, that would be a runner-up for me between Beauty and the Beast and Mini Adventures.
Would you have struggled?
I probably would have struggled with that one, because I feel like Winnie the Pooh is a very complete movie as well.
It is, but it's made out of different stories in one. Whereas Beauty and the Beast tells one complete story.
It does, but...
And it does it well.
Winnie the Pooh, it does. But Winnie the Pooh also tells a complete story. It's many different stories, but this is this child's life. And then at the end, the child has to grow up and move on. And Winnie the Pooh's whole thing was, I'm still going to love you, like, forever. And Winnie the Pooh's essentially a parent, too. letting their child go. I have a lot of love for Winnie the Pooh as well. But out of this bracket, Beauty and the Beast wins because, again, it's the most complete film. You know, you have the great songs, the great storytelling, the great voice acting, whereas you don't get that as much on the Pixar side. Pixar has some great movies. Mm-hmm. Pixar has some great messages.
Monsters, Inc. is excellent, right?
Monsters, Inc., yes. But as far as a complete story, I'm getting baby kisses.
He loves your pick. He agrees.
Thank you, Leo.
So there you go, Brokettes. The definitive. I hope you enjoyed that segment.
Yeah.
We did a good amount on the Disney bracket, and I think you can bookmark this if anyone ever asks us what our favorite Disney film of all time, even including, obviously, the MCU and any other company involved. The Beauty and the Beast movie is better. Yes. It is in my top 5 movies of all time.
Yeah, I would put it up there.
So there you go, everyone. Let's head into because we're creeping up on what might be a 2-hour episode. I know some Brokettes don't mind, some do.
And with the bracket out of the way, let's head into our Patreon shoutouts.
This week, we've got several Patreon shoutouts. That's right, Leo. Leo's helping with the Patreon shoutouts. That's an extra bang for your buck right there. Jared on Twitter at Spoon Sandwich. He retweeted the Dragon Ball Super / Infinity War crossover image of, if Goku was in the Avengers, he'd give Thanos the Infinity Stones just to see how strong he would get.
See, Leo says that that's false. It would be Vegeta, but let Vegeta do what he wants because he'll end up beating him anyway.
No, he would lose to him, and then Goku would have to beat him.
No!
That's Dragon Ball.
That's only because Toriyama likes Goku better.
Yeah, and who's writing them?
No, whatever. Anyway, move on next.
Thank you so much, Jared, for your support. Next shout out goes out to Scott on Twitter at Lazy Gaming Guys, also at Pandanime. He put up an Arkham City Let's Play on their YouTube channel. It is the best Batman game of all time,
I love
everyone.
me some Arkham City. That was a lot of fun. That franchise did so much for Batman games. It was like the first game where you were Batman.
And it had the animated series cast come right back. Although Arkham Asylum was a true Batman the Animated Series casting because it had Arlene Sorkin as Harley Quinn. And I know the Lazy Gaming guys disagree. They think Tara Strong did a fine job as Harley Quinn.
Who are they?
But clearly they have not seen enough episodes of Batman the Animated Series. We're all wrong about several things. We're wrong every single fucking week, I'm sure.
Us? No. I am the Emperor.
I'm wrong every single fucking week.
You, yes. Our next one goes out to Alexander. On Twitter, he is at Swordfish Show or purpleswordfish.com.
Yeah, if you head on over to purpleswordfish.com, it will redirect you straight to his YouTube channel. He's been killing it on fucking YouTube. He recently reached his 4,000 rolling hours, and his channel is now in review to reinstate his monetization.
That is awesome. Congratulations.
A lot of fucking hard work went into it. He did a shit ton of streams. He treated YouTube. He's like, YouTube, you are Twitch now. You are my Twitch.
You're my Twitch.
You're my Twitch now. Time for me to take my prize. And he got his fucking monetization. He's going to get his monetization back. He needs to get his monetization back.
And our final shout out goes out to Bobby on Twitter at Cuban Slim.
He watched Ready Player One this week and strongly recommended it on our Discord lounge to all of our brocats on our Discord.
Oh, I must not be signed in because it didn't alert me.
You getting that shit now. You're getting that vocal alert. Bobby's telling you right now via the podcast itself that you need to watch Ready Player One.
With what time?
That's one thing, I was like, when I go to Chicago next week, when I'm up at C2E2, maybe I'll have time to watch Ready Player One. If I watch a movie, it's going to be Ready Player One, so I'll tell you that, Bobby.
All right.
If I don't like Ready Player One, then it doesn't mean anything. I don't know. there's nothing hinging on it. It doesn't matter. Right. If I like it, great. If I don't, fine. So I will watch Ready Player One if I go to the theaters when I'm up there, which I should have enough time. I'm staying at a hotel that's within 5 minutes of a movie theater. So while I'm waiting for Mr. Riggs or Clayton to pick me up, I'll go watch fucking a movie or I'll watch a movie with them.
Enjoy your vacation away from parenthood where you just have free time.
It's going to be really weird. I'm going to be really anxious the whole vacation.
Through the night and have free time. I'm going to get texts all the time. How's Leo? How's he doing?
Yeah.
Send me a picture.
It's my curse. So thank you so much, Patreon brokettes. If you too would like your shout out every single month, and it does not stop, it's all you get. I see some Patreon campaigns where they're like, get a shout out once for $5 a month. And it's like, no, every fucking month you get your shout out. I don't care if you're donating $1 or $100 a month. You get your shout out once a month. So if you're getting at the minimum, again, $1 a month, 25 cents an episode, 25 cents of entertainment. He's like, fuck. Leo's like, no, it's worth more than $1. 25 cents of entertainment and information every single week. Head on over to patreon.com/thereasonsimBroke. And you too can help support the channel. We're heading on over into our next goal, which will be a monthly giveaway. We will give away a trade paperback or a hardcover for some of our hand-curated, hand-picked recommendations every single month. And if we hit that goal, you will get, some random Patreon backer will get a special prize, a special giveaway. It's a guaranteed giveaway every single month. After that, we'll do an Android application, an Android app for Android users. But that's far off in the future. We're working and focusing on the next goal, which I believe is goal number 4.
But of course, goal number 7 is Daniel wears a Joey Whedon, I Love Joey Whedon shirt. Goal number 8 is I talk about some fake news video games. And now goal number 10 is I write a fan fiction and post a chapter a week. Chapter a month. And
we also want to thank DecalAvenue.com for the help at the $5 decal reward tier. What is that? Head on over to Patreon and you will see what kind of decals we are sending you at the $5 reward tier. You can also leave us a voicemail if you want to be heard on the podcast. If you want to ask a question. I know a lot of you ask questions on Discord, which is amazing. Thank you so much. But if you want to be heard on the show, head on over to speakpipe.com/thereasonsimbroke. There is a link in today's episode.
But of course, our podcast will always be free. The best thing you can do is let your friends know about us. Download more episodes. Head on over to thereasonsimebroke.com. Click on merch and buy a t-shirt. That helps support the show as well.
Yeah, thank you so much to everyone who bought a t-shirt. Again, it does not let us know who bought a shirt. So if you did, tell us on Twitter. Take a picture when you receive the shirt. Tweet it at us. And we'll give you a personal thank you for buying the merch on TeePublic. Yes. So on to our comic book highlight of the week.
As we said in the very beginning, our comic book highlight this week is Dark Knight's Metal number 6.
This is the final issue to Dark Knight's Metal, written by Scott Snyder and James Tynion IV, art by Greg Capullo, Mikel Janin, Alvaro Martinez, and Raul Fernandez, with colors by June Chung and Brad Anderson.
So I have been on this whole Dark Knight's Metal journey, and I like it just as much as I did when it began, which is not at all.
It wasn't as bad as the previous issues.
I don't even think I read those. I felt very lost, as I have through this entire series.
Spoiler alert if you have not read Dark Knight's Metal number 6 yet, and I think the biggest spoiler is probably the part of the book that I enjoyed the most. I think as we continued on in the series, we found out that we didn't like this. You knew ahead of me that the series kind of sucks at the end, and I was like, no, it's fine. And then I kept reading, and I was like, oh yeah, the Dark Knight's Metal kind of sucks. But I love it for how well it's sold. I love it for how we are in the minority for not liking the mini.
Well,
I will say that.
That's good.
So I'm glad people are enjoying it. The main thing is, and all that happens in this issue is they are able to merge with the nth metal, with the metal that is able to defeat the dark multiverse, the dark universe, the dark Batman. And I think the big plot point in the whole story is when you have the Batman who laughs. Barbados is a fucking bitch. Like, he goes out like a punk in this thing. And it's metal as shit. And that's what this whole book is. It's goofy. It's fun. And if you're okay with that, if you're okay with junk food, and that's what this miniseries has been, a lot of junk food, then great. You know, that's a portion of comics, and a lot of comics are that. But with this particular issue, Barbados goes off. The big guy in this is the Batman who laughs. And he faces off, and the Batman Who Laughs, to anyone who's not familiar with it, it is what happens if Bruce Wayne is affected by the Joker toxin, and he is as deadly as Batman and as deadly as the fucking Joker. What happens when he goes up, not just against Batman, which alone, you win, Batman fucking wins. It's like the Beauty and the Beast of the Disney Pixar shit. But the fucking Joker as well. The Joker teams up with Batman to say, fuck you, Batman Who Laughs. And that's always the one thing that never crossed my mind. What would the Joker fucking think of the Batman Who Laughs?
Oh, that crossed my mind. But yeah, that was a great moment. And they even say it again, spoilers. The Batman Who Laughs is like, oh shit, what's going on? And they pretty much point out, like, you only think like Batman, and Batman would never, he's practicing his metal laugh. Batman would never think to team up with the Joker, so that's what Batman fucking did. Like, Batman sat there and said, what would I not think of? And that's what he fucking thought up. Oh, he's a genius.
That's the one thing, though, is like, it's also have Joker in a way, right? Because, I mean, I guess it's not the Joker. The Joker fucks off. He's dead in the Dark Knight's Metal universe. It is the Batman affected by the Joker serum. But the Joker, the Batman Who Laughs is a merging of Batman and the Joker. How could the Joker not romanticize that character or that merging? That's the one bit that I was like, there got to be some part of the Joker that he struggles with and not liking the Batman Who Laughs.
I don't know. I didn't really like it.
Like, but you know the Joker. We've read so many countless comics. Like, what makes the Joker team up with Batman and not with what is a merging of the two?
I think it stems from the Joker's love for Batman. And okay, if this Joker, this Batman Joker sticks around, then there's not going to be a Batman anymore. And then what is there for the Joker to do?
It's not Batman anymore, right?
Right, it's not Batman anymore. Batman, the Joker who laughs, the Batman who laughs, would kill Batman, would destroy the world, and then what is there for the Joker to do? The Joker's purpose, the Joker's life is chaos to get Batman to fight him. That is the Joker's whole motivation. So if anything threatens that, he's going to do what he needs to do to take it out, and Batman going to him and saying, we need to work together to defeat, or whatever the fuck he said. It's like, yeah, okay, sure.
Yeah, I want to see what that conversation was. Like, Joker, you've seen this. Like, was it a long thing? I don't even know.
No, probably not even.
And I love that Joker...
You're coming with me. I mean, that's probably all it was, and then they went to fight him.
And Batman trusted the Joker enough. Like, he held the Batman Who Laughs arm at one point, and the Joker does not spray both of them. He just sprays the guy's hand and cuts off the fucking fingers. It's like, Jesus, there's some major trust going on between these two.
Again, I think Joker and Batman both. Batman's come to the realization that Joker doesn't want the easy way out of beating Batman. And that's what it would be. Like, oh, you're preoccupied. Like, if Joker's going to beat him, he's going to fucking say, I beat you at your best.
Not when you were fighting the Batman Who Laughs and then you were distracted. You're right. And it was not his doing. And I know in some way it was, because it was a Dark Multiverse's Joker's plan to have this happen to Batman. But in Joker's mind, and in my mind too, I'd be like, that's not me.
Right.
That is not me.
I didn't do that.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's the Joker. I don't care if it's a Daniel from a different universe. Fuck him. That is not me. And I think that's where it came down to. And I know it's like, oh, it's randomness. It's not. The Joker knows who he is. He has a plan. He does all this. And it's. I think that's probably the biggest payoff so far, aside from Sandman showing up in issue 1 or 2, of the Joker teaming up with the Batman and fuck off Batman Who Laughs. And I like that Batman left them fighting. Like, he's like, oh, gotta save you. And I forgot who he dragged off. And he's like, yeah, fuck those guys.
It was the Overwatcher or whatever. That he saved. The thing I didn't like about this issue, and I like that part, I was like, oh, this is cool. They just show up out of nowhere with 10th metal. And they're like, surprise, we got this shit. And then suddenly Barbados is dead. And then suddenly the world is saved. And then suddenly they're eating a fancy dinner. And I'm like, why? This felt like it should have been several more issues than it was. But I felt that with every issue. Like, there's so much that needed to be explained. And it wasn't, I like figuring things out. I like it when the story comes together in an unconventional way. But this entire series felt like it was so rushed and smushed together. And they didn't give me the pieces. It's like they gave me the outline of the puzzle and then didn't give me anything in between, and then it was over. The
perfect example happens in this one issue when Detective Chimp comes through, right? And then he's like, here's the other Batman. And I was like, oh, fuck, man. Batman Red Sun is here. And we've got the Frank Miller Batman. It looked like one of them is Dark Knight Returns Batman. And I was like, all these fucking Batmen are going to kick ass. No, fuck them. They're not in this issue.
Right.
What?
You just see them for a second.
Man.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what you said. It's the outline of the puzzle. We didn't get the pieces. We didn't get to enjoy our dessert. It was mainly frosting, and that's the biggest issue with Dark Knight's Metal. So there were cool moments, as we said. The Joker Batman thing is probably the best part of this whole Dark Knight's Metal bit. But it happened at the very last bit, and it was for a few pages. And yeah, we got to talk about what would Joker do. We explored the Joker. We should have been doing this for every fucking issue, not just for a part of the final one. So overall, I don't know. It was weak for me. Again, I like how much it sells, and I'm glad people like it. Dark Knight's Metal. I hope this isn't what Justice League is when Scott Snyder takes over. And Scott Snyder has been, I think, faltering. And I know it doesn't matter because sales have been strong, so Scott Snyder could say, fuck you, Daniel, I'm selling books. And yeah, that's the goal. So yeah, fuck me. But as a reader, I am saying I want more. I hope Justice League is better. I hope it's like your Court of Owls for Justice League.
Yes, agreed. We'll see.
So there you have it. That is our comic book highlight this week. It is Dark Knight's Metal number 6 and our review. Don't forget to join our Discord. It is in the link is in at thereasonsimbroke.com and at today's episode. I do also... I know a lot of people. I believe actually Brian was the first one who asked what's going to happen when you're gone, when you're off at Chicago. Are we going to get an episode that week? And Bobby, Cuban Slim, and Scott from Lazy Gaming Guys are going to help fill in. So we're going to do an episode and a bonus episode that I can release while I'm gone so that you still have something to listen to. I know you guys have your rituals. I listen to podcasts myself. I have my own pattern of when I listen to certain shows. So we will have something out for you that week, especially now with Patreon. Yeah, we're going to give you a fucking episode, of course. So huge thanks to Bobby and Scott for filling in. And that episode will be coming up once again while I am at C2E2. And one last thing I do want to say is thank you so much for tuning in every single week. March was our weakest month, not only in 2018, but it is in like our bottom half of months of all time. Like, yeah, we've done a shit ton. The thing is, we've been getting higher average downloads per episode. So it's like, how's that possible if you're getting lower months? What's happening is we're not getting listeners listening to a shit ton of episodes in 1 month. So we're gaining subscribers, and our downloads per episode is higher, I think, than it's ever been. So we have more subscribers than ever, but people aren't going back, and it's fine. I don't care, but it all goes into the downloads. If we get subscribers and you're enjoying the episode, that's all I care about. If there are listeners, but I will say that is why March was our weakest. because we didn't have as many people
Right.
going back. And that might be a good thing in itself, because the newer listeners might have been going back last month, which was one of our top 5 best episodes or best months of all time. I think it was our second or third best month of all time. So it might have been that then they were going back and trying us out, and it's like, okay, now I will subscribe. Now I will download once a week. So that's, I think, what ended up happening. So now we have the most subscribers, but it was our lowest.
Right. Well,
So
okay.
that's how that works. That's how I want you guys to know the background of these stats when I tweet them out and I talk about them. So thank you so much for tuning in this week and for listening to Leo.
For the last half of our podcast.
That's right. And as always, like, some people would just stop doing these shows, stop doing YouTube channels. We're continuing, and you're growing with us. You're hearing Leo, you're hearing Kelly, you're hearing me when I'm on my allergies, Kelly when she's sick, and Leo as he's growing. How you doing, Leo? One day maybe he may talk on here.
He might. You guys don't understand the strain on my body right now, wrangling a 6-month-old who's trying to touch all the clothes in the closet and stand up. But he can't stand up. He doesn't have the balance to, so.
He's going to fucking try.
Yes, he's trying.
So thank you so much for tuning in this week. I'm Daniel.
I'm Kelly.
And we'll see you next week.